Let's talk about the bodybuilding. Bodybuilding back in the 70s and 80s. Obviously, I can talk about this because I was involved in bodybuilding in the 70s and 80s and today. I'm one of the few guys around that was around in Arnold's time. I trained 23 years naturally. I swallowed it and I said, holy fuck, I'm no longer natural. Because before that, I had pride. You know, I walked around, hey, dude, I'm natural. You know,
bigger, stronger, faster.
Massive amount of illegal steroids. News 12 Westchester's Rob Hoyle reports it appears the man wasn't just selling them. One look at Gregg Valentino's arms and you know something's going on. The 40-year-old is charged with criminal possession of anabolic steroids with intent to sell. Police say they found $75,000 worth of illegal muscle-building drugs at his home and at the Powerhouse Gym in Yorktown where Valentino is a part owner.
Just take a look at this guy. He was busted last week for selling a controlled substance, and you'll never guess which one. Come on, take a stab, a wild stab, huh? Here's a hint, it's not estrogen.
Okay, Mr. Gregg Valentino, how are you, sir? Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to have you on, really.
Well, it's great to be on, Matt. Thank you. I'm just a dog chasing his tail. Never getting it, but chasing it anyway.
Yeah, you know yeah. So I want to talk to you about a lot of things. You know, the reason why I originally had you on, somebody actually commented and said, hey, you should get Gregg Valentino on. It was in relation to this Nicholas Tartaglione video I did.
Right.
The name didn't ring a bell at first. Then I typed it in and I said, oh, okay, I know. Due to an unfortunate documentary, which we'll speak about later, that I saw many years ago. So I knew who you were after that. And I said, you know what? It would be interesting to have this gentleman on. And you are somebody who has been involved in bodybuilding for over 50 years, which is crazy. I'm looking at you right now, and to think that you've been involved in bodybuilding for over 50 years, you look great for your age. You're about, what, 64 now, Greg?
I'm 64 years old, but I don't look it.
No, well, that's my point. Yeah.
I'm 64.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, the bodybuilding I started in 1972. I started competing when I was young, and you know, at 16 years old, I was young. So you know, in the mid 70s, when nobody was working out, you know, it was like a rare thing. I was like a freak. You know what I mean? Like a chick with giant tits. Oh wait, can we curse during this? Is there cursing allowed here or no?
Oh yeah, go ahead, man. Go in. Yeah.
We can throw F-bombs and stuff like that. That's okay.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm not worried about it.
Bad stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started, you know, like I was like a chick with big tits. You know, it's like a rarity, like the white buffalo. You know, you didn't see guys jacked and stuff in 1976 walking around unless you were down by Venice Beach. I'm up here in New York. I'm from the Bronx and now I live in Westchester. So there's nobody walking around jacked, but I was, you know, and you know, it was a great time. I was definitely like a rarity.
I have some photos of you that you sent me, and I think these are early 70s. I want to bring them up.
Yep, there I am.
There
nice.
You are.
That hair's gone. You know what I mean? It's been for a while.
Yeah. How old are you here, Greg?
I was 16 years old in these pictures.
16. Wow. I mean, I'm looking at you. I mean, 16, you're huge.
Yeah, I wasn't on no steroids. I didn't even know what steroids were. That was the first one that you see right there. Look,
I'll bring it up. I'll bring it back.
No, it's okay. I'm over here pointing like people can say. The first one where I'm sitting with the tank top on is that's a Nautilus machine, and that's when like the big Nautilus craze came out. That's the first gym I ever really got my start at. I trained at like the White Plains Y a little bit here and there, but you know, only as a guest for certain days, you know. But that was the gym I started at. It was called Bob Baff's Nautilus Center in Yorktown Heights. And it was like the craze in the mid 70s. That was the thing, Nautilus. You know, Arthur Jones came out with this line of equipment, and it was a whole system of training. So I was doing that. And then, you know, I just started adding more into barbells and dumbbells and boom, you know. But I had already, you know, competed and stuff. So it was you know, I would slick back that mop of hair, you know, because it doesn't look good, a big bush of hair on stage, you know. But,
and back then, I mean, today, I mean, it's something I mentioned to you, and we were speaking on the phone today. You know, I could walk down the street, I could see a guy that's ripped, that looks like a beast.
Oh yeah.
And you know, I say, oh, guy's in great shape, and I just go about my day. But 72, 73, 74, you're in, New York City or, upstate somewhere. This is not normal by any means, right?
Oh yeah, it was very rare. Very, very rare. Most people didn't even know what bodybuilding was. You never heard of Arnold Schwarzenegger or any of that stuff until Pumping Iron came out, the movie Pumping Iron. And that was right after 1976, but it still was an oddity. It came out, it was just this rare thing. People were like, wow, look at that. And today Arnold couldn't even win probably a local show. You know what I mean? That's how, he was, to us, he was God, but to people back then, he was this freak. But today, if he walked down the street, he was like 6'2", maybe two. When he competed, I think he was in maybe 224, 225, which is nothing. That's nothing today. I at 5'6", I was 278 pounds when I was, juiced up. But back then I was natural. Didn't even know because. I only knew what I read in the magazines. And Joe Weider, who everybody's heard of Joe Weider, he owned the magazines, and he basically ran the sport of bodybuilding. He was, him and his brother started the IFBB and all this stuff, which is the, governing organization of bodybuilding. And, he wanted bodybuilding to get into the Olympics. That was his goal. So he kept the steroid thing, kind of, he never talked about it in a magazine. So we always believed, growing up, I always believed, well, if I take some protein powder or, whatever,
right.
maybe that, and I'd look in the mirror and I'd be like, well, I don't look any bigger. You know what I mean? But, so I never heard of it. It wasn't until maybe 1980, I met this kid named Peter Neff, who was a great natural bodybuilder. And he used to tell me, well, I'm natural. And I used to think, well, okay, well, what does that mean? What do you mean you're natural? I thought maybe he meant he was a vegan and he ate nothing but vegetables. But what he meant was he competed naturally against guys on steroids. And I never realized that guy, and we called it hormones back then. You know what I mean? I didn't even know what the word steroids were, but, so that's how I even first heard about it, but, I just basically, I was the kid in school that, I would go to parties and I'd drink Yoo-hoo while everybody else was drinking beer, and I was into working out. I'd go, my friends would all be like, come on, they want to go to Playland or something. And I'd be like, okay, I'll be like, give me 15 more minutes. Cause I was in a room lifting weights and trying to pump up,
And that's from what it says in your book, Death, Drugs, and Muscle, which we'll talk about. 12 years old.
Yes.
You started 72, right? You started already being interested in, which, since I've been, growing up, they always say, don't work out, don't do anything at that age, because you're never gonna grow. Whatever things they used to make up. I don't know what the real science is behind it, but how was that at 12 years old to be bulking up and getting big? I mean, that was how many 12-year-olds were doing that? I mean, especially in 72.
You know what it is? It's a combination of things. First of all, I grew up idolizing my father, and he was a big guy. He worked out, but later on in life, he wasn't a bodybuilder or any of that stuff, but he was a big off. He was rugged, so I like to be like him. But I also got attention. It was weird because when I was 11 years old, and I'll send you a picture, we could put it in here, okay, of me at 11 years old. I was already built. I wasn't big at all, but I was very muscular. Okay, I was a muscular kid. And I remember I was in 6th grade and a kid said to me, you have all these apples on your back. And I was like, no, I don't, stop that. I was like, I felt like he was picking on me, but what he was telling me was that my back from behind was very muscular, and my mother used to say to me, why does he have that V look? My father's like, well, those are called lats, I had them when I was younger too. So I don't know. I guess he got me attention, and I was always a really good athlete, but I felt because I'm shorter, I'm 5'6", I felt like I had to be a little bit better than everybody else. And I knew if I couldn't grow taller, I wanted to grow wider, So I just started hitting the weights, and, I got a lot of attention, from girls, guys, you know what I mean? When I say guys, I don't mean the sexual. No, I know. Yeah. Dudes would be like, yo, dude, oh, holy shit. Yeah. How did you do that? Because back then, even in high school, we had one machine in a weight room. It was called the Universal. Yeah. You sit and you do lat pull downs and maybe the bench press. You know what I mean? It's a machine. And when I was in middle school, I remember going in there, and the bench press, right? And I it was a machine bench press, but all the kids, like all the big guys in high school, were like, Joe Materazzi, he could bench the stack, and I was like in middle school. Oh yeah, watch this, and I benched the stack, So kids were like, holy shit, the stack was like 250 pounds.
Wow.
Which is really nothing, but
What in middle school, yeah.
Right. Excuse me, and it was like a big thing. Like everybody's like, holy shit, this 8th grader benched the stack,
Yeah.
But there was no lifting like there is today. Today, schools and have beautiful gyms and everything. We didn't have that, because it's the 70s,
So I showed early 70s before. I want to get to late. So it looks like when you're younger, you're kind of bulking, you're getting big. By the late 70s, you're starting to get real cut up, and you're starting to look different. You're almost, into your 20s. You're a full-grown adult. So tell me about this time period right here.
Okay, I was 19 years old here. But matter of fact, this is 1979.
Yep.
Both of these pictures, and the picture of me with the girls. It's funny because the one girl, the shorter one, is probably in her mid 80s right now. And that's how long ago this picture is. This picture's from 1979. You're looking at, I can't even do the math on that, but it's a long time ago.
So they were ahead of their time as well, I suppose, right?
Yeah, they were considered female bodybuilders. They were 2 girls that were in the show. They were in the contest, and I was in the contest, and that's me, a natural bodybuilder and a young kid and everything. And I would go on and I would beat guys that were on steroids back then. Again, I didn't know what steroids, in that picture, I had no idea what steroids were.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that I was a lightweight. So I competed in a lightweight class. And even though I appeared like, oh God, he was huge, I was built. I wasn't humongous. You understand? I created that illusion like a bodybuilder. His name is Frank Zane, a very famous bodybuilder who actually beat Arnold once. My structure was just amazing. So that's what made me really carried me on to beat guys even bigger than me who were grown men, and I was a teenager, and they were on steroids and I wasn't. So
well, describe that to me actually, if you don't mind, Greg. Like, I'm going to bring that picture back up. The way you're standing to the right, the one where you're by yourself.
Okay.
You're doing, you creating some kind, you're making yourself appear wider, you say? You're creating this.
So I'm saying, like, because of my structure, I have like you have me zoomed in on this picture, but if you have the original photo where you can see me from top to bottom, where you see my legs and everything and all, my symmetry, it's called symmetry. My symmetry and my whole structure was really, really good. You know what I mean? Like I had almost like a mini Arnold build. What made Arnold great, he wasn't the biggest bodybuilder, but his body was like beautiful. His structure, his symmetry and everything. That's why, he beat guys like Lou Ferrigno and, Sergio Oliva. And there's a bunch of them who were a lot bigger than him. Okay. But the structure, the beauty of the physique, the way the physique flowed. And that's what made me win, was because there'd be guys like little, pit bulls standing there and they were jacked and big. But I flowed my body. People couldn't believe that I was not an adult. I was 19. Technically I'm an adult. But these guys were, I was beating guys that were lifting 10 years before me,
Wow. And they were also not natural.
Yeah, I know that they were taking steroids. I didn't know at the time, but I just, later on you figure out, oh shit, he was enhanced, meaning his own stuff,
Right.
Yeah, so but I loved it. I had, I looked good. It was rare, you know what I mean? Wherever I went, people were like, "Oh my God!" Like what? Today fitness is a big thing. Back then, it was so rare that again, I'm originally from the Bronx. That's where I was born and raised. The first part of my life, and then we moved to Westchester, which is like the little brother of the Bronx.
Yeah,
and you couldn't even find muscle magazines. You have to go into New York City or maybe White Plains, which is a bigger city, right? You'd have to go in there just to get a muscle magazine. If you wanted to follow bodybuilding, they didn't have magazines up here for bodybuilding. It was like a niche thing,
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know. And excuse me, the bodybuilding magazines were how-to magazines. So you'd read them. You want to read the magazines because not only did it inspire you, but that's where I learned how to diet, work out, do this for let's say for your arms, for your biceps, or do this for your chest, or do this for your legs, or eat this, don't eat that. There were no videos. There were no YouTube. There was no television shows on it. There was no way, you can buy a barbell set and you get this little like workout paper that came with it, of some guy doing little things. But how do you really learn? In the 1970s, there was no way to learn.
Well, would you say that 70s knowledge rings true today? Is that still?
Yes, it's evolved, like in any
evolved,
sport, baseball or football or anything. The game, the whole sport's evolved. The knowledge is way greater now than it was then. But just the working out never changes. This is what you do for this, for that, for this, for whatever body part you're training. The strategies could change a little bit per person because nobody responds the same way. If I gave you Arnold Schwarzenegger's routine, if I said, look here, this is Arnold's routine right here. This is what he did for his biceps and back. And you tried it. You'd be like, I did set for set. I did rep for rep. Okay. I even use the same weights. And I don't know, how come I'm not making the gains Arnold got? Yes. Everybody's body responds differently. Even in baseball or football, one guy can hit a fastball, another guy is better hitting curveballs, off-speed pitches, whatever. Right. Another guy stands all weird, and how does he bat with his leg out like that, or his hitch, or because everybody's different. Each guy is different. So there's no one set way, but pretty much the exercise is to curl. Is one way to curl, and the same way you curled in the 1970s or the 1930s. The same way you curl today, but you got to, adjust the workout according to yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So more specialized today.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So I just want to stop here 1 second, and I want to bring up this picture, and then I want to get into kind of late 80s into the 90s, but I want to make a little pit stop to this picture right here.
Yes.
Westchester Police badge number 737, Gregg Valentino. Can you explain? You talk about in the book, you say my life, what my life could have become. Right. That's kind of how you look at it. Can you explain how you became an officer here, and what was this all about?
Yeah, well, I had taken police tests and everything like that, because that's what I wanted to do. Now, that was like a part-time, we're basically part-time police, and you go, I went to a police academy, everything. You go through all this stuff. Because that's, I wanted to do that as a job possibly, because I wasn't sure if bodybuilding was going to pay off. You have to do something to earn a living, And then as I was going to go full time, I got hit in the eye with a wire that had blinded me, hence the sunglasses. So I only was on there for 2 years. 2 years I did it. So I got blinded, and they put me on what's called medical review, and I had to go. And they said I was medically unfit because I was basically blind in my left eye. I had reconstructive surgery, and then I could see. So we were gonna, push the issue and try to sue to get my, the job, but it didn't. I was like, at the time I had just opened a gym, and my mind was like, screw that. Who needs that shit? You know what I mean? I don't need. That was just something to fall back on, because now I'm starting to make money, and I'm opening a gym, and I'm actually starting to promote shows as well. Not just you don't make money competing, you win trophies. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't need that shit. So I relinquished my position. Now, here's the thing. That was a stupid move, because I would have had a pension. You know what I mean? And you relinquish your position, I got no pension, but I'm thinking bodybuilding. Oh, I'm going to make millions of dollars. And it doesn't work like that. Not at all. Because even, Arnold and all those people, they all had to do something else to pay the bills. There's a great story about Arnold in 1972 when I first started working out. He won a Mr. Olympia, okay? Yeah. And they goes up on stage, and they hand him a check, and he takes this check and he holds it up like this, and he walks off stage, right? Joe Weider comes up. He's at the podium. The crowd's chanting, Arnold, Arnold, Arnold. And Joe Weider goes, Arnold, come on, come back out, talk to you. They're calling for you. Come on out. Speak to them. Your fans they're chanting for you. You know what I mean? They want to hear from you. You just won Mr. Olympia. He comes out and he grabs the mic, and you can see he's perturbed about something. And he just says, I just want to say that I busted my ass. I trained all year long, and all I got was this check for a fucking $1,000. And he put the fucking mic down and walked off the stage.
Wow.
So what I'm saying is, like, But what did he do to work out, what did he do to make money, Shkarol, okay, all year round so he could lay around, go to the gym, lay on the beach, So, you have to find a way to make money. He got into media later on, but when in 1972, he was just, big lummox bodybuilder like anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
There was no money in that. Today there's really, even today, the best bodybuilder on the planet, the guy who wins Mr. Olympia. I don't know what he makes. I've lost track of that shit, but it might be like 600,000 or something like that.
Wow.
Now, to people watch this, you might be like, "Oh my God, $600,000! $600,000? That's nothing. Are you kidding me? Guys from the minor leagues in baseball, the base pay. If you play one game in the majors, you got to make like $650 or whatever. That's minor league guys who are 19, 20, 21 years old that just were in high school a couple of years ago, maybe made a name for themselves in the minors.
Right.
That's nothing. No athletes make that. There's guys who I watch ESPN where they're throwing darts or playing billiards, and those guys are making way more than that. Plus, in bodybuilding, by the time you pay for your guru, your food, your steroids, your supplements, and all that shit, that money's down to nothing. Trust me. So
that's why the guys, they need sponsors. They need all this, right?
Well,
you got to do a lot of work to get that.
Right. I stopped competing. And I started running shows. I owned the gym, so I was making shkarol, and I started running shows for the NPC, which was a governing organization. When I competed, it was in the AAU. You understand? Remember the AAU was very famous. Then in like 1984, this new organization started and took over and basically pushed the AAU out. And they became the governing organization in the minor leagues, so to speak, the amateurs. It's called the NPC. And they fed whoever wins NPC shows goes on to be a pro in the IFBB, which is where, Mr. Olympia is and Schwarzenegger and all those guys. So what I'm saying is, I was winning shows, but I'm getting trophies. I'm coming, I got all these trophies. What am I going to do with them? You know what I mean? You get the $50 trophy, $30 trophy. It looks nice on a mantle, but after a while, it's not making any shkarol. And there was no money in the sport. Even back then, I think Mr. Olympia was getting like 10 grand. So what are you going to do with that? So I started running shows for this new organization, the NPC, and I started making money. I was, we were selling out the house. You charge $50 a seat. I was getting pros coming in to do, expos, and there's 2,000 people sitting in an arena. You figure out how much shkarol it is, and it's cash. Back then we weren't getting no, credit cards and no Ticketmaster stuff or any of that stuff. It was cash. So I was doing good. And plus I owned the gym, and things were going well.
So that was the 80s, right? That was all throughout the 80s you're speaking of, right?
Right.
But
yes, the 80s.
By the time 1990 comes, that's done for you. Yes. And you are at a point in your life where, I hate to say it, you're cleaning up shit. I mean, you're in gyms cleaning up shit. You're cleaning after people. Dedicated your life to this thing. You ended up in a situation where you had to work for other people. You're working in other gyms. You're cleaning up shit. You even said something in the book. I actually got a little sad hearing it. You said that you would have to collect bottles and cans, and you would even wait for the San Gennaro feast, which actually I believe just passed, which is in Little Italy, Manhattan, because that was like a gold mine. Everybody was drinking soda. Everyone's throwing out beer bottles. So you would actually wait for feasts such as that so you can collect all the bottles and the cans and everything. And I say I feel sad because I see like, this guy dedicated his life to building up. He's got a reputation. He sat with some of the greatest in the sport at that time, and you're picking up fucking bottles at the San Gennaro feast.
I trained.
How did you get there? I mean, how did you get there? I mean, it's got to be surreal.
Okay. Let me explain it to you. I trained in the gym with Arnold in 1981, and we weren't workout partners, but he's right there, I'm right there. I remember I was fucking around with him, and I'm like, Arnold, when I first started training there in Venice Beach and shit, and he's like, don't get so emotional, because I was playing around with him. But that's neither here nor there. So what happens in the 90s is that my gym was in a very bad area. Okay, it was in Peekskill, New York, and back then Peekskill was pretty bad. You know what I mean? And it was the land of savages, and there was a lot of fighting going outside my gym, and there was fights inside my gym, and you'd have, you know, a little bit of racial shit going back and forth, and all kinds of stuff was happening. And there was even a prostitute murdered in my parking lot or some shit like that. You know, there was all kinds of stuff. So it was bad. So the gym was, you know, people started getting afraid to go to my gym. You know, again, there was fights inside the gym. Guys with bats, you know, it was nuts. So now I got to close the gym down. And that was my thing. And I had another gym and I had sold it. Okay, so I had 2 gyms at one point, but I sold it. But I didn't make a lot of money. It was downstairs. It was, you know, from a like a shopping center, and you had to take an elevator. It was below the, you know, it was like in the basement of it. But this gym, the Peak Skill Gym, was my baby, you know. And I had all these pro bodybuilders, some of the greatest bodybuilders train there, hang out with me, you know, come to see me, you know. And now I got to close it because it's not making no money. Nobody's coming here. So we sell all of our equipment to this guy that owns a gym in Westchester. And he takes me and the guy that I own the gym with on and says, you can work for me if you want, but, you know, you got to put back weights and shit, you know. And at the time, my son was just born, you know, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, you know, somebody barfed in the bathroom. Hey, the toilet's clogged. Can you clean, you know? And I'm over there like, yes, you know, yeah, okay, you know, yes, man, I'll fucking mop it up and shit, you know, and I'm putting back weights and, you know, doing stuff that I'm like, you know, I'm a gym owner. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell am I doing? You know, that'd almost be like Dana White. Now, no longer works for the UFC, worked for like a Pride organization, you know, not Pride, you know, the fighting. And now they got him like cleaning off the seats. Here, tickets, aisle 4. We're right here. Sit over here, these 3 seats, you know. You know, that's what it's like. So I'm sitting there and I'm like cleaning shit up off the floor and, you know, barf and, you know, get assholes throwing around, you know, weights and stuff. And I got to pick them up and, you know, and I'm making little next to nothing. But now I got a kid, you know, and my wife at the time's working. She's working a really good job, you know. So I felt like beta man, you know, soy man, you know, because, you know, she's making more money than I am at the time. You know, and then her and I actually went to the Feast of San Gennaro. They drink so much beer and shit there. They throw the bottles on the floor. They would, you know, I don't know about right now, but back then it was like this deep. And we actually bought enough. We actually made like $200 something just on getting bottles.
Really? Wow.
The car stunk. We go back and forth. My car stunk like beer, you know, because the bottles were in it. And that's a lot of, you figure out how much that is. It was
that's a lot. Yeah.
Period. You know, I didn't make
5 cents a bottle, 5 cents.
You figure, you do the math on that. So we made like $200 one time. And, you know, I was sitting there and I'm like, holy shit, did you fall off the friggin', you know, because 1 minute, you know, I had a chance to stay with the police department, you know, get this, you know, great job. And by now I would have been a chief of police. But I'm saying like, you know, I threw away, I made huge mistakes, bad moves. You know what I mean? I should have stayed with that and then just done the gym on the side, but it's just a lot of shit, you know, and I should have got out of the Peak Skill. Should have got out of there. You know what I mean? I could have moved the gym to a new spot, but I didn't. I waited till the membership went down to nothing. And now I'm not making any money to even move that gym. So I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there and I'm not thinking too highly of my own self, you know, and I'm like, holy shit, you're a Momo. And for you people watching this that don't know what that means, in Italian, that means you're a schmuck. You know what I mean?
Momo. Yeah, I'm glad you used that word because I use that word too.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, what's Momo mean? Momo, Italian American, it's like a slang. It's almost like schmuck, idiot, you know,
dopehead, dummy,
idiot, fool, clown.
Yeah,
I'm like Momo. You know what I mean? I'm putting back weights and, you know, and I'm like, oh my God. So now my friend, he works at a gay bar because they hire all these, you know, straight bouncers and shit, and they're all bodybuilding guys. He asked me, you want to work there? And I said, I'll work. And he introduces me to this other guy, my friend Paul, who wound up in the book. It's Frank. I call him Frank, but it's Paul. You know, and my friend Paulie and I were working in this. We start working at this, you know, gay bar. You know what I mean? As bouncers. Now we're making money because he wants to open another gym. So that's what we're doing. And should I get into the whole how the drug shit started? Because
well, I was gonna bring it up. So I mean, you know, around this time, as we've been discussing, you're kind of down and out. Kind of I mean, you're still really young, but
Right.
It is. It's a fall from grace because you've kind of built your reputation in this field, and as you were saying, you've been around some of the greats. I mean, you would be considered, I assume, at that time, a very well-known individual.
I was. Yes.
Yeah. Won awards, competitions.
You know what I felt like? I'll tell you what I felt like. My girlfriend is this all the time. You were the Ram. You remember the movie with the wrestler? With,
the wrestler. Yeah.
Where he was the Ram. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
He's in there cutting the meat in the fucking deli,
Yeah.
in a grocery store, and the guy's going, "What are you doing here? You're the Ram." He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." You remember? You know, because here he was, this top wrestler on TV. You know, now he's in a grocery store cutting meat. Like, what would you like? A pound of bologna? You know, that's what I felt. I felt like the Ram. You know, and this is before. You know, looking back at it now, I say the Ram. This is before that movie came out. So now, you know, I'm not making a shot like I was. I'm bouncing in a bar making, you know, I don't remember what we made. It might have been $100 a night. I don't remember. It's a long time ago. And my partner Paul wants to own a, you know, the guy who bounced with me, Paulie, want to build a gym. So, but I got ahead of myself because I met Paul through my other friend. His name is Fernando. He introduced me to Paul because he had nothing to do with bodybuilding or drugs or any of that shit. But he was like one of those guys that's into everything. Like, what do you say? What do you know? And he introduced me to his friend Paul. And that's how I met Paul. So that's just to let you know. And the three of us did a drug deal together. Now what happened was Paul is from Brooklyn and he knew some guy down there that knew these Russian dudes, you know, that were all had steroids. And my friend Fernando,
Brighton Beach.
Yes, Brighton Beach.
Russians. Yeah.
My friend says to me, "Listen, this kid Paulie, you know, when we met, right? This kid Paulie has you know, he knows all these Russian dudes, you know, and you know, we could get some shit." And he goes, "Greg, you know all these bodybuilders because you all trained at your gym, and you know everybody that's involved in bodybuilding. And he gets steroids, you know." And the kid telling me this has nothing to do with steroids. Okay, he doesn't even lift weights, but he knew he had you know, it's almost like I pull you, I introduce you to guys, I can make some money off you guys too. So he said, "I'll front some money. Let's go. We'll meet Paul. You tell him what you need. He'll go with this other guy that he knows that has the connection to the Russians." And then that's what happened. And we went down there. We picked up Paul. Paul and I hit it off, you know. And that's how I met him. Okay, because I got ahead of myself with the bar thing. So now Paul and we do this deal. We're with this other guy. He's kind of stunata. He's a momo for real. And we go into this Russian place, and the Russian guy has us meet his father, and the father gives we give him the money, and the father is supposed to give us the stuff, right? Because it's a restaurant off the boardwalk. We go in there, and the guy gives us all these bags. Here, take this. Here you go. It's like, and we're sitting there, we're looking at each other. What the fuck? Okay, you know, we don't know. We're just walking. And as we're walking down the board, we're going back to where our car is. My friend goes, "Just keep walking like this," right? The guy that's friends with Paul. And then my friend Fernando's there, like, "Holy shit, bro, I think we just got more shit than we paid for." And he goes, "Just keep walking. And all of a sudden we hear, "Hi!" like this. And we turn and we look. And, you know, the boardwalk now, we're like basically 2 blocks onto the boardwalk. So we can see it was way down there. The guy's going like this, "Come back." You know what I mean? Because we realized, holy shit, the guy realized, shit, it was the guy. And he realized, holy shit, my father gave him the wrong stuff, which was a lot more than we were supposed to get. We paid, but we got like triple what we paid for.
Wow.
So my friend just goes, "Run." And so we start fucking running. And he's like, "Hey," and then he runs off and they get in his van. And they're looking for us now. And that is fucking Russians. They're driving up and down. Here's the beach, and there's all the, you know, there's a road, right? Here's the boardwalk. There's a road that goes like this, and then these little roads that connect to it, you know, where people park. And we don't even remember where the fuck we're parked, but this van's coming, and we're ducking behind cars, and that van's fucking tearing up and down the avenue looking for us. You know what I mean? And we were shitting our pants because we were afraid these guys, if they fucking caught us, they would have killed us, you know? So we're like, holy fucking shit. So finally we get to our car, and that van had just passed where we were. We jump in the car, we turn around, we just tear out of there. And, we're driving all, we're getting it. We're just, they didn't, they never got us is what the thing. But you know what? There's a funny part to this story. Because years later, we met another guy who was actually in the club that we worked at, okay, in the gay club. He was a male stripper. And he knew those Russian guys.
Really? Wow.
Us. So we actually became friends with the same guys. The
same Russians.
Yeah, but years later, it was years later. Yeah, we discussed it all, and it was a mistake. It wasn't our mistake. Now we could have went back, but I didn't know shit. This was the first drug. This was my first drug deal. This is the first one. It should have been an omen because it was like, fucked up. You know what I mean? This is my first drug deal. So I get home, and I'm over here fucking cleaning toilets and shit at the gym, and that's when we phased in. It's just before we started working at the gay club, right? Then Paul says, let's open up a gym. And we started working together at the gay club. But I'm, at the time, this is just when I'm finishing working at that gym. And I'm sitting there, and I made like $4,000 or $5,000 profit right there that day. Wow. One day. And I'm like, holy shit, this is beautiful. You know what I mean? Back in 1991, you make $4,000, $5,000 just in one day. That was one day. And I knew right then and there the bug bit me. You know what I mean? And we did other, met other people, Polish dudes, all this other shit, and we would start doing this stuff. And we worked we started working at the gay club because we were building a gym, and we needed all that money to build it. We built this big gym called Powerhouse Fitness Center, Powerhouse Gym, and so we were working, and at the same time we were making that shkaro. But that money we were making was beautiful. I mean, it started out $4,000. By the time I was done, I mean, we'll get into that more if you want to ask me more shit. By the time I was make a lot more than $4,000, I could tell you that in one day.
So let me ask you early on. I mean, we're going to talk. You get into a lot of shit later on, but early on, right? So now you are, I guess you're officially, it's 91, 92, let's say. You're officially a steroid dealer. Is that an official title?
Yes. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Even though we worked in that bar, we had to do that just to make even a little bit more money, right? Because we were trying to build a gym. We had no money. We did it with nothing. You know what I'm saying? Anytime we'd make money, we go buy mirrors for the gym. You know what I mean? We started out with dumbbells on the floor. And they wouldn't even have a rack for them. And then we make a couple bucks selling drugs and whatever. We had paid our own bills. And then we took our money, pulled it together, and bought dumbbell racks. And then we got the mirrors on the wall. Before we knew it, we had the most awesome gym around. But I'm sorry, but go ahead. Yes, I was a drug dealer. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess 2-part question. At that time when you're starting, outside of having to obtain these steroids, as far as selling them, I guess my first question is, did you look at that as a dangerous venture, or was there any paranoia associated with that? That's the first question. And my second question is, the Russians are obviously out of the picture now. You can't go back to Brighton Beach.
Right. No, we did. That was a one and done.
Where does the next connect come from?
Well, Paul knew other guys, and we had a Polish guy that he knew. Okay, and that was a bad man. Oof. He was a good guy. I loved him, but that was a bad dude. You didn't want to fuck with him. He was actually once in the Olympics. He was a judo champion from Poland.
Judo guys. Yeah, you don't want to fuck with judo guys.
No, he had the, you could tell him a joke. You know what I'm saying? And he'd look at you like, is that funny? You know what I mean? Like, he had that personality. You're like,
very dry.
Get the joke, And
well, let me ask you. Actually, I hate to cut you off, but Eastern Europe. Is there a steroid affinity? Yeah, I mean, I'm asking you because I think I know the answer to the question. I mean, with the history, with the Russia, with the Olympics, with all this other shit. But even then, like you had the Polish, you had the Russians. There's a lot of
man all over there. I mean, it was hell yeah. Even in like Italy and all everywhere over there. There was German stuff, French stuff, like Powerball and all different drugs that were they were. It was prevalent over there. You know what I mean? Okay. And, man, we did really good with that stuff. But the thing is that to get back to what you were asking me, there was no paranoia. I was too stupid. Do you understand? Okay. Like when you start making that kind of money, I felt like, You ever see the movie with Keanu Reeves where I think it was Keanu Reeves where he's that vampire and he's laying in a pit and the fucking these hot vampire chicks are fucking they're drinking his blood and they're slowly killing him. I forgot who it was that got him out of there. But you're so like, oh my God, these chicks are so hot sexually. I they're fucking gorgeous. And but they're gonna kill me, but I can't. It's too like you can't think about it. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, I knew that there was potential for all kinds of bad things to happen, which a lot of bad things did happen. But I was too blinded by the fact that, I got this making Scott, dude, remember in the movie, to quote my man there, fucking Joe Pesci in the movie Goodfellas. I don't know if you noticed, but I ain't shining shoes no more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know if you noticed, bro, but clean up on the fucking aisle 3. There's puke in the bathroom. You better tell somebody else to clean that shit up. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, let me go piss and shit on the floor. Have them clean that up too. You understand? That's the way I felt. Because, I went from, being a fucking like Momo to now like king of the Momos. You know what I'm saying? So I was blinded by the money. I mean, you can't help it. You're blinded by the money. But you're blinded. You can't think straight. You're like, holy shit, man. This is like, and the wife now, instead of going and saying, hey, let's collect bottles. So, the feast of San Gino's going to now say, let's go to the feast and spend some scotto.
How open were you, though? How open were you with her? Did she know? Like,
she knew. Are you kidding me? Listen,
obviously, where's the money coming from? Yeah.
Let me tell you. It's like my wife. Like I was cheating on her, and eventually I started cheating on her, doing bad shit. Yeah. Okay, we will get into that. You already know. But what I'm saying is, it's like the mafia. The Friday nights for the girlfriends and Saturday nights for the wives. The wives know they turn a blind eye because she'd go to me. Well, I'm good. First of all, we started going out to eat every day. I said, what do you want to eat tonight? Do you feel like Italian? Oh, yeah, let's go get steak. We'll go to the steakhouse. Tomorrow night, we'll go to the Italian restaurant. After that, you want to go to a Chinese buffet? Whatever you want. You know what I mean? So we would, it was like that. We never ate home. She would used to say to me, this is not really good. I mean, we don't even eat home. Like, what do we need forks and knives and plates for? We don't need to, I got, let's just go out to eat. And she would say to me, I'm going to go shopping, grocery shop. And I'd be like, what do you need? Here's $500. Here's $500. Let's go get whatever you need. Basically, she was just getting like Snackwells or whatever the hell it was for my kid, to go to school with, at the time. She was basically buying that shit. She wasn't really buying food we didn't eat. We didn't eat at home. I would just give her money. I need money for, I need money for this. Here's $1,000. Go, what do you need for? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't care. She wanted a new car. I went to the car place and I remember I almost had a bad fight there because the guy was, I was starting to get nuts. I remember the guy looking at me. He was a big dude too. And he was like, he worked at like Geis Auto Mall. And he was like the boss over there. And he was like some big Italian guy, and he looked like a big football player kind of guy. And I made a big I was like starting to get nuts. You understand? Yeah. And I wasn't on steroids yet, but I was like, you're making scotto, you're hanging out with wise guys. So you start thinking like, who the fuck you are, And I remember going up to him, why do you keep fucking looking at me? I said, do you have a problem with me? I'm here to buy a car. Look at this. I got 10 grand cash in my pocket. I said, you want to come outside right now? I'll fight you. You know what? If you kick my ass, you get to keep that 10 grand. If I kick your ass, you give me any car I want on a lot. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, you know what the fuck I'm talking? Because I was nuts.
That criminal lifestyle was getting to your head. It was gassing your head up.
I was involved in bad shit. We go out and we go, me and my boys, we go to strip clubs after we go do drug deals. I'd have guns and shit. I was like, it got out of control, It was out of, I'll tell you a story later as we get into the Julissa part. I'll tell you more how like fucking stupid I was. Okay.
So that was, we're talking 92, 93. Yes. Let's fast forward to 1995. This is a big year in the life of Gregg Valentino.
Right.
A very big year. I'm going to put up a picture. This is from your book. And everybody, if you want to read Gregg's book, the link will be in the description, along with a bunch of other links in reference to Mr. Valentino. This is an image which is apparently taken actually 2 weeks before the first time you took steroids. Okay. impressive nonetheless. I mean, those your fucking arms are really big, dude. No steroids at all?
No. I was jacked. I mean, you're talking about by this time I had already been trained. Let's see. So 1972 to 1995. That's how many years? 20. It's like 23, 24 years.
Consistently pumping, consistently over consistent.
Taking it serious. No steroids. Right. Yes.
Okay. So this is 1995.
Yes, that's
2 weeks before steroid use. So let's just get right into it. Gregg Valentino takes steroids for the first time in 1995 at 35 years old. He's been big. He's 35. He's a grown-ass man. And something in your head says, you know what? Forget this. I'm going in. I'm going. Everyone else is doing it. They're all taking advantage. I'm Mr. Natural. 23 years natural at that point.
Yes.
Let
me explain to you why. Because when I remember this kid coming in the gym, right? And he wanted to get he wanted to be big and all this other shit. And he asked me how to train, and I'm showing him how to train, and all this, because I would always help the new kids that come in and stuff. Now, about 8 months later, I walk in the gym and I see this jacked fucking guy. I mean, jacked in the back of the gym. And I'm like, oh shit, who the fuck is that? And I go back there, and it's the kid I just showed how to work out 8 months before. Because one of these guys, and it happens in a lot of gyms, that they walk in and they start doing the babanya. You see on the YouTube, you see it all the time. Some skinny kid with his little cell phone up, right? And here's me now, and here's me a year later. You know what I mean? And it was like that. And for some reason, I was like, you know what, man? I'm tired of seeing guys who, I teach them how to work out. Here I am busting my ass for my muscle, and these guys just like shortcut it and start taking a shit. So I just sat there, and I remember there was a box of anabolics, which is Dianabol, okay? D-ball. Everybody's heard of D-ball. It's just sitting there, and it's looking at me, and I'm like, it's calling me. And it's like, fuck these people. Watch this. And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to think about it. Just do it. Hurry before you consider it. I go over there and I pop it out one. There are pop outs, right? I pop it out and I go put like this. I took it and I took a drink. Holy shit. Here we go. Holy fuck. I'm not a natural anymore. That's it. Swear to God, it's exactly how it happened. I'm not a natural. So you know what I said? Fuck that. I'll give me the rest of them. I wound up taking like a fucking 100 of them. I swear to God.
Really?
100 in a bottle. Then I'm sitting there going, what did I just do? What the fuck did I just do? Not only am I not natural, but I just took like 100 D-balls. You know what I mean? I don't want to fucking die, So I'm sitting there sweating this shit out. The next day I was still alive, and I'm like, holy shit, you know what? There's a bottle of test right there. Fuck that. I'm going to take that now. Well, I did the pill injection. And before you know it, see, I'm the kind of guy that I'm an all or nothing. Even when I train, I've never, ever, ever in the fucking 50 plus years I've been training, I've never walked in a gym and said, you know what, Brad, I'm tired today. I don't really have it. I'm just going to go light, just go through the motions. You know what I mean? I don't do that. It's all or it's nothing. And it's never nothing. I can't live with myself. I'll start having dreams that I didn't train. So I'll pop a little ephedrine and I'll drink a freaking Bang and I'll be like, okay, let's go. You know what I mean? And I'll have the workout of my life. It's all or it's nothing. So I just jumped right in. And before you know it, my friend saw me like a week and a half later and goes, dude, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck did you do? You look like you just gained 10 pounds. Since
a week and a half? In just a week and a half? Really?
Yeah, week and a half. And I was like, yeah, dude, I started doing the shit. And he's like, no fucking way. And I'm like, dude, I started doing the shit, And before you know it, it just boom, boom, boom. And I gained 100 pounds. I went from that picture, 178 to 278.
Wow.
I don't mean overnight, but, in about a year or so, I gained, if you would have saw me a year before and then saw me there, my head was like a pumpkin. I was super jacked. My health was not great. You can't breathe when you're not big, but I was more nuts, because I'm feeling like I could walk through walls.
It seems like you were already kind of aggressive. and you weren't even taking the shit. I mean, because you kind of were living this almost like a gangster lifestyle, you know,
100%.
selling drugs, obtaining all of these things that you didn't have, cars, eating out every day. Then you start actually taking the shit, getting high in your own supply, so to speak.
Yes, 100%.
And so is that increasing your aggressive mentality? Are you becoming more aggressive? Are you becoming more
I got
wild?
more, yes, I did, but not because of the steroids don't necessarily, you know, that's it. Look, a lot of testosterone, of course, is going to make you a little bit aggressive, but it's what it does. It's the results of it. Right. You understand? Like being jacked. I always say, if you're an asshole and you take steroids and get jacked, you're a bigger asshole. Okay. There's not, you don't see like, oh my God, there's a rash of steroid athletes, all these bodybuilders, they're beating people up everywhere and all that. That's not the case. You know, you might get angry, punch walls, and throw fucking shit around the house, but they're not going out there and just starting crime and beating people up and shit. I got aggressive because the whole ball of wax got me aggressive. I'm making money, so now I'm my own guy. You understand? I'm selling drugs. I could go right now to the gym, go after the gym and go meet my guys, right? Because I didn't sell to kids in the gym. Blue Moon would be. Now, you know, I knew somebody who wanted a bottle. All right, what do you want? You know what I mean? But I didn't do that. I sold to other dealers. So I would go to the gym. I'd have no money in my pocket. Not that I didn't have money. I had money and I just left it home because I knew I was going to make it. And I'd come home with 10 grand, sometimes more, sometimes 20 grand. So I'd go to the gym with nothing, come home with 20 grand. It was like that.
Wow. So
you get this air about you, like, I guess P. Diddy or somebody, you know, you get this air about you, like, I could do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean? I'll throw $100 bill and tell you, you know, here, spit on the ground. You need money? Here, lick that up and take that on. You know, I had that fucking, you know, like I'm untouchable fucking, you know, you start getting at, it's not just for the steroids. The steroids are just a little piece to the big picture. You know what I mean?
Right.
The more you get built, the more, you know, there's a lot of guys who are pussies, okay? And they take the babanya, steroids, and they get jacked. And now people are afraid of them because they look big and they're jacked.
Right.
You get all, they're really pussies. You understand what I'm saying? They're just a jacked pussy, you know? So, you know, but in their mentally, they know that people like see them and go, oh, dude, you work out, bro. I wouldn't fuck with you, man. You're a big guy. You know, you get that shit. So people start getting high, you know, and you see these wrestlers on TV and they're all jacked. There's The Rock, you know, or Batista, I'll rip out your neck and shit down the hall. And you say, wow, and look, this guy looks bigger than those guys. So he must be a badass.
Yep.
So you get this mentality, you start believing your own shit, you know, you start believing your own stink. And so it was like that. So it wouldn't be just the steroids. It's just a combination of the whole thing, because then, you know, you start getting like cocky and thinking like, okay, I'm a fucking gangster, bro. Well, you know, and I knew guys are selling guns and I get a couple guns and, you know, shit starts happening, you know, and, you know, even though the wife's like, I think you're going a little too far. Aren't you going a little too far? To be like, you think I'm going too far? Here's $2,000. Go buy something. And she's like, yeah, okay, you're right. Maybe you're not going too far. You know what I mean? Like she never told me, even though she didn't like it. She never told me, you better stop this shit. You know what I mean? One day you're going to get in trouble or something's going to happen, whatever. You know, or we're going to have problems. And I was like, problems, bro. You know, I got these right here. So show me fucking problems. You know what I mean? Like, I start not even thinking, you know, we'll get into that more. I don't want to get ahead of you.
No, yeah. I want to get into kind of the results of you getting into steroids in 1995. I'm going to bring up a couple more pictures right now. I don't have the exact dates, but if I had to guess, and tell me if I'm right when I bring them up, maybe 98, 99-ish, maybe around 2000. I'm going to bring these up so people can get an idea of the, you know, type of person that you turned into.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, that's I was jacked there. I'd say the one where my hands are pushing together, that was probably like 1999, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around 1999. I was like seriously ridiculously jacked.
The left, the one with the black shirt or the dark shirt?
Yeah, it was probably close to the same. It was probably being 98, 99. Because there, I think I was 278 pounds, which I don't think I know. I was 270. Plus, I can tell by the tattoos on the arms. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have tattoos. I had tattoos before that, but each one came differently. I had one tattoo, then two tattoos. So that's 98, 99. Yeah, 98, 99. 99 with the hands pushed together. Maybe the other one was maybe 98, you know?
Right. Right. And I want to ask you something. And I know I spoke to you. I know nothing's going to offend you.
Nothing. Go ahead.
We spoke.
Yes.
But I'm looking at these two pictures right now. Everybody that's watching is looking at these things.
Yes.
I see this and I say, okay, this is not normal by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
This looks pretty bizarre. This is somebody who is taking things to an extreme level.
It's ugly.
Maybe something mental is going on. I don't know. People call it, I don't even know if it's a legit term, bigorexia or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure you've heard that term before. You start thinking like, wow, what is going on in this fucking guy's head? So when you look back at that, like, do you say what was going on in my head, or is that attractive to you that you're looking at that picture right now? Like, what do you? At
the time, you're not going to believe this, but at the time I thought I still wasn't that big. I said, I need to get bigger. Okay. At the time, okay, right. Because you're caught. And basically what happens is I can only explain this to you like this. Maybe this will make people understand this. You're caught in a riptide. You don't realize it. You're standing out in the ocean and the water splashing around your fucking, your knees, and woo, you take a step forward. Now it's up to like where your hips are and stuff. And then before you know it, the water's up to here and it's up to your chest. Now you're up to your neck. Now you turn and you look, and the shore is half a mile. You're a half mile out in the ocean because a riptide took you. The only thing I can tell you is I was stornata. I didn't realize how far I was going. I had bigorexia. I was on, that's what I was on, what's the name? Tyra Banks show for.
Now, one of the biggest myths about eating disorders is that they only happen to women. That is so not true. Gregg is the opposite of an anorexic. He's what some people call bigorexic. And he was so compelled to get bigger and bigger that it nearly cost him.
Because I had bigorexia, because I looked at that and I saw me going, dude, you can fuck, why, you need more of this, you need more of that. Like I didn't feel as I was big enough. You know what I mean? It's almost like a skinny chick looking in the mirror and saying, I'm fat. You know what I mean? My ass is skinnier. So I actually thought that I wasn't really big enough. And I was 278 pounds at 5'6". And if I go to tie my shoe and bend over, sometimes I might be like, holy shit, I just almost fainted. You know what I mean? Like when you sit in a movie theater and you're watching a movie and your girl's looking at you like this, and you're like, what? And she's like, dude, you're breathing like Alfred Hitchcock or something,
So what is that? All the weight compressing down your chest, all the heavy muscles, just listen.
People watching this, let me explain this to you how this works. Okay. If I took you, Brett, and I cloned you, okay? So now clone Brett, clone number one, I'm going to make him 300 pounds of fat blubber, okay? Remember, same exact DNA as Brett number two, who I'm going to make 300 pounds of ripped, shredded muscle, no body fat. Chances are people would be like, this is going to blow people's mind, but the fat Brett would outlive the ripped Brett. And you say, how can that be? Fat's not good for you. Well, it's not if it clogs your arteries and put, fat around your organ, but human beings evolved for that. But there's very little blood flow in fat, okay? That's why you see there's fat older people, okay?
Right.
But you're never going to see a super jacked older man. You may say, no, I've seen this older guy. He's in the gym and he's like 80 and he's ripped. No, he's ripped. He's ripped. And he's muscular, but he's not walking around with 22-inch, 23-inch, 24-inch. I had 27-inch arms. Wow. He's not walking around like that. Okay, he's not. You know that.
More about what they call vascular, I guess they call it. Like,
well, what happens? You would die because the blood flow, the heart has to pump 100 times harder to supply muscle with blood there's not much blood flow and fat. That's why they can do fat suction. And, you know, you could, because there's not a lot of blood flow. Blood fat, there's very little. The fat that's really bad for us, okay, it becomes dangerous when it's in your arteries and in your, in organ tissue and shit.
Right.
But we've evolved. There are fat older people, but there's no fat guy. There's no older man that's got 22-inch arms. It just doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yes, there's older men, older women who are very fit. There's one in my gym, a woman. She's like 80, and she's very muscular, but she's not jacked. There's a difference between being jacked, what I look like there, and then what I look like when I was 19. You understand? There's a big difference. Okay, and it has to do with blood flow.
Yeah, let's look at that again, actually. Yeah, keep talking. I mean, this is you. This is 1979.
Right. And if you showed this to guys and girls, guys would be like, I'd love to look like that. Girls would be like, ooh, that's hot. I'd fuck that. And then you showed me looking all with that pumpkin head. And like that, you showed
it doesn't look like the same person, Greg.
That's too much, right? Look at that face. Look how fucking fat my face was. You could see the strain. Look at the one where I push my hand. You can see the strain in my eyes. Like the
that doesn't look like the same person. I mean, that's totally.
Yeah, I mean, that's gross. I get it. But I don't, when you're, it's just like an anorexic. It's bigorexia. When you're involved in this, you don't see it that way. I don't see myself as jacked. I see myself as, dude, I could have, my lats should be bigger. I should have more sweep here or whatever. But I was not good enough for me. It wasn't. I was popping shit, shooting myself like crazy, with the steroids. I was going nuts. I was taking full bottles.
But at that point, what's the goal there? I mean, are you content there looking back? Is that content?
At the time, I was not content. Looking back now, I'm like, what the fuck were you thinking?
So even at that, you were not content. You would have kept going.
No, it's like when you see a chick that's got really big tits. Now, I'm not talking, oh, yeah, my next door neighbor, she's got a nice rack on her. I'm not talking. I'm talking about when you see one of these chesty Morgans that's got 2 basketballs, right? And you're out here like this, and you're fucking size XXX. They're giant tits, the size of beach balls or basketballs. You say, oh, come on. That looks ridiculous. It's obviously not even a real tit. You know what I mean?
Or the fucking lips now. They do the lips.
Right. I mean, that looks what are you thinking? But they're not thinking. So all of a sudden they go too far one day and they look, and that's kind of what happened to me when I had the hematoma in the arm. Now, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself. If you tell me.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that.
I'll explain that part. And how all of that came to be, like how I fixed all it, and how I'll explain to you how reality smacked me right in the face. I'll explain that to you. But it also has to do with that big tit thing, like girls with big tits. Okay, again, there's balloon tits that kind of look like beach balls that are like, that's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, I've seen, yeah.
Right. Well, what was that chick thinking? Like, what would make her, why not just a pair of nice D's or something? Like, why do you have to fucking get these? Well, it's the same thing with me. I saw those arms and I said, man, they're fucking skinny. Those are twig arms. They should be a lot bigger than that. Yeah. My dosage, and let me shoot it right into the muscle. That's what I did.
Yeah. Well, big boobs are that's passe. I mean, we need beach ball butts nowadays. I mean,
I don't see you.
You've seen those, right? You've seen those fake booties?
Beach ball butt. But you're talking to the wrong guy because I love skinny chicks. You know what I mean? I like a tight little ass. And it's
I know, but I see all these girls
these girls all over the internet. But there's guys that love that shit.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I've just seen some. Listen, whatever you're into is fine. I'm not judging people, but you see the women, they're like this,
and then that's ridiculous.
It doesn't even.
Who am I to talk, right? Who am I to talk? Because I did the same thing.
Right. But I could see how. I mean, everyone has their own, and muscles, of course. Body modification, right? I mean, essentially, yeah.
What happens though is a lot of guys feed that fire with the chicks with the big asses or the giant tits. There are guys like, oh my God, that's so hot. Yeah. You look at her and they start fucking. Those girls get on OnlyFans and they just shake that ass, and some fucking guys, like this. But when I was jacked, chicks weren't like, oh my God, you're so hot. They were fucking like, you know what I mean? But I didn't give a shit. You
were married, right? Yeah, I gotta give a fuck.
I was married. I had a girlfriend. But what I'm saying is, we'll get to that too. But I had giant fucking arms, right? And dudes would come up to me, bro. It wasn't just arms. You say I was big everywhere. But what I'm saying is, dudes would come up to me, and they'd be like, dude, holy shit. We'd be in a club, And the hottest girl would be standing there watching her man kiss my ass. Do you understand? Because the dude would be like, he'd have his hot girlfriend. He'd almost mush her just to get to me to say, dude, what the fuck, bro? What are you taking? Yo, bro, I'm taking deep on this. Hey, what are you taking? Oh, fucking dude. Oh, shit. Look at that. Look. Yo, Billy, come here. Check it out. Like that. Meanwhile, the girl's standing there like just going, I can't believe you're giving this guy attention, And I'd be looking at the girl like, your man is ready. If I told your man, suck my dick and you'll get jacked like me, he would do it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the crazy thing too, because but that's the crazy thing too with steroids, which is, I'm sure some people listening to this know, maybe some don't, but you also need a good base. I mean, you need some good genetics, right? I mean, it's not like any Momo can just wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm ready to do steroids because I'm going to get like Gregg Valentino, or I'm going to get like whoever, You can't. It's not going to happen for everybody.
No. You know, make guys take steroids and don't look fucking good, and they shoot it, they put it in there, and they do whatever, and they still look like shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was born for that shit, to be honest with you. I'll send you a picture of me at 11. You can.
Well, 23 years. I mean, natural. So you were building it for many, many years,
right?
And then you kind of transition. Whereas the other way around, it's like a guy that's been working out a couple of years. You know what? I'm tired of this. I need the roids now. And then you just.
They're all, when you're all drugs, it comes quick, but you lose it quick.
Yeah.
Look at me now, 64 years old. I'm not on steroids. You know what I'm saying? I still look good. Okay, and I think I'm in the 180s right now, but almost 190. I fluctuate, I just had surgery a couple months ago, but gallbladder taken out. But what I'm saying is that, because I built a foundation, for me to get super jacked, well-trained muscle responds better to steroids than untrained muscle. I told you, it's like if you and I are going to run a mile race, you've never done, you're going to start at the start line, but because I built all this muscle naturally, I'm going to start, halfway. So I'm halfway there already. So I get to start from the halfway mark. So it takes me a lot quicker. I'm going to get there a lot faster than you because I've already ran the first 50, half mile. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So at this time, you got huge. In your mind, there's no end in sight. Go, keep going. Late 90s. Your family life starts falling apart.
Right.
You are still peddling the steroids.
Right.
You're at a strip club one night. I don't know if it's a nightclub or a strip club, but you're at let's just say a nightclub, and you meet a woman there. And the circumstances behind you meeting this woman are actually extremely interesting too. And, I don't know how dangerous this thing was for you prior to this meeting, but from what I can tell, you meet this woman, you form a relationship with her, and things start getting pretty dangerous. I don't know if things get dangerous because of this meeting or because of that's where you were heading regardless. But I'm going to bring a picture of the person that I'm speaking of, Greg. This is a woman by the name of Julissa Rivera, who you meet in a club one night. You lock eyes. There's a connection there. And take us to, you see her in the club. You lock eyes. You probably, like guy sees a woman. You start thinking about her all night. Who's this girl? Who's this girl? Take us to the point where you leave the club and you run into this girl again that same night. What exactly happened?
Okay, so what happened was we were in a club, and then she's in there dancing, but she's hooking up with guys because she was prostitute. You know what I'm saying? Okay. She was a prostitute, so she was hooking up with guys, and I'm in there with my boys and everything. We're watching. I'm looking at her, and I'm like, she's not a bad looking girl, and she's Puerto Rican the way I like them because Latin is my favorite flavor, like Latina chicks, big hoop earrings, the whole big wild curly hair, skinny. And I'm watching her a couple guys, and I see her leave with this guy, he was like, I know later on I find out he's a Yaqui Indian. He had like long hair. Like it was it's a tribe, but they're like kind of Mexican Indians. They're called Yaqui Indians. And he had jeans on, but he wore a blazer. and everything. And he looked like, he's walking around with cocktails in his hand, and I saw them leave. So later on, I'm at a diner, right? And I'm sitting in the diner. My friend's got this girl. He's kicking it with this girl, and they're all like lovey-dovey. And my other friends just left, and we're sitting here. And I gotta wait for my friend to take him home. And I'm looking outside, and there's the girl. There she is. Okay, her name is Julissa. So that's her name. So I see Julissa. She's outside, and I see the guy is arguing with her, right? And next thing I know, I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm looking, and I see him smack her and knock her down and drag her by her hair and go around the corner of this building. And I fucking bolt out, and I run around a corner, and he's trying to get her in a car. He's dragging her by her hair in a car to try to get her in his car. And I run over, and I slam him off his own car, and I start hitting him with the door, and I just start going crazy. Like I start beating the shit out of him, right? I get it to the point where, she's like rolls away, and I'm like beating the shit out of him, and he crawls into his car, and he just drives away. So I turn to her, and I'm looking at her whole face is all like disheveled, and I said to her, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I'm fine. Just leave me alone." She goes, "It's not the first time this has happened. It's not going to be the last. Just get away from me." Like I was like, "Whoa,"
Well, you knew it was that girl that you saw in the club that you locked eyes with.
100%. I had been seeing her all night, and I was intrigued by her, but I didn't, know that things were going to happen with me and her. But so I see her, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'll give you your space. And I said, if you need me, I'm going to be around over here. And I went around the corner, and I just stood there because I had this feeling, because she's over there all disheveled, trying to get a fucking cigarette in her mouth, trying to get up off the ground. Her fucking heels are broken and shit, And next thing I know, she comes around the corner, and she goes, "Hey, I'm sorry, listen, can we talk for a minute?" And I'm talking to her, and we start just talking, she said, "I'm not all right, and we just started talking. And I said to her, let's go for a ride. I'm waiting for my friend. He's sitting in the diner right here. I said, "Come on, what do you need?" She goes, "I can use a pack of cigarettes." And she wanted a Welch's grape juice. I'll never forget that. So I drove around and went to we drove around and talked a little bit. I went to a little bodega, and I got her a Welch's grape juice, and I got her a pack of cigarettes, And she's smoking and talking, and we're laughing, and I don't know, we just hit it off, and I waited for my friend. He got, then he was done. I took the girl, he was in my car with me, but I took the girl home. I took Julissa home to where she was staying. She was basically homeless. Okay. And she was staying at a friend's house, and I took her to the house, and I told her, "I want to see you again." And she's like, she didn't have a phone. She just got out of jail. She was I think she was out of jail a week. She was in jail like 9 times. You know what I mean? She was like real gangster. And I said, "Well, how do I get a hold of you?" And she gave me the girl's phone number. It was to the house that she was staying at. And, I remember watching her walk out of the thing, and I was like, I definitely got to see. I told my friend, I got to see this girl again. I need to see her again. And that's how it started. I called her up, and next day I called her up, and I met her down there, and we drove around, and we started hitting it off. And at first she wouldn't talk a lot, she'd just sit there, and I'd be doing I talk a lot, as you can tell. So, I'd be sitting there, and we just started talking. I'm rambling on. I'm like trying to ask her stuff about herself, And she's like, "You gotta understand, I just got out of jail. I just don't know what the hell I'm doing it. I was a bad heroin addict." And she was telling me all about it, how she got locked up and all these different times she was locked up, and how she kicked heroin in jail. And she had told me that when she went to jail, she said they threw me in a room where they just hosed me down because I was laying in my own vomit and my own shit, because she kicked heroin, and which later on when I got locked up, I saw all that shit. Personally, I saw it, with other people. But she would tell me they didn't give 2 shits. They didn't give 2 shits. If you died on that floor, they didn't care. You'd be over there fucking, and she said, "I asked God, please take me now, please." They come in with ice cold water and just, hose her down because she couldn't stop fucking, shitting and barfing and everything. And she said, you don't know what that was like, you know? And she said that I wanted to die. I begged God to take me, and he didn't. So that's how that started. And it, you know, it actually started. So that started in like the end of 95. We were together from 1995 on, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, what it is, you know, I don't know how to explain it to you, but you get home and your wife is now a mother. Before my kid was born, because my daughter wasn't born yet. That was my son, you know. And you know, we had actually 2 miscarriages in between. But the thing is, you know, your wife's a mother. You know, before that, she was your girlfriend. She'd do all kinds of shit, like eat my ass, do this, do that, whatever. You know what I'm saying? She did whatever you want to do. Now she's a mother. And, you know, oh, wait, the kid's getting up. I have to get to bed early. He's got to go to school in the morning, and that kind of shit. And I want to go out to clubs. And I want to do things because now I got Scott O. And that's the life how gangsters do it. And there's not a fucking gangster in the world. There's not one mafia dude or one guy who didn't have a gumad and a wife. They all did. They all had gumad, every one of them. Because you're out at night. You got to be out at night. You don't sell drugs during the day or in the morning. You know, you're like, hey, I got a guy coming at 8 in the morning. He's going to buy a case of testosterone. It doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? It's night. So you live the nightlife. And we go to clubs. We go to strip clubs. We go to porn club. We went crazy places, you know, and I was with guys, and every one of them met girls. I mean, we all had fucking gumads. If they weren't strippers, they were whores. You know what I mean? They were prostitutes. She was a prostitute. You know, she did it for a living. She was homeless. You know, she had to do it. So that's how it started. It was like that. And then before you know it, you're like a kid when you're with your girlfriend. You know, when you're with your wife, you got, oh shit, you know, we need to go. Paul needs to get stuff for school. We got to go get him notebooks. And okay, you know, and you call your girlfriend, hey, you know, what are you doing? You know, oh, I can't wait to see you tonight. You know, I got this fucking lingerie, you know, I want you to pound me hard in the ass or whatever the fucking you're like, you know what I mean? I can't wait to get the fuck away from the wife, you know? So, you know, and then you go out and we go to strip clubs and she go with you, you know what I mean? And sometimes you get her to make out with chicks and shit and you're over, you know, it's fucking hot, you know, and you got your boys with you and they all got their girlfriends and, you know, we're all fucking around and, you know, we're going to, you know, eating and fucking making money, go, hey, wait, we got to meet. And it's plus she was Spanish, okay, Puerto Rican. So she would speak, I would have to deal with like a lot of fucking Spanish guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I don't want to get ahead of you. Go ahead. You ask
yeah,
me.
no, that's what I was going to ask you actually. Yeah, because, well, first of all, as far as like, you know, her being a little, I don't know, I guess coy with you in the beginning. I don't know. She wasn't used to maybe guys showing her respect or trying to get to know her, I guess, at that point. So you were trying to really form a relationship, like.
She didn't trust.
Yeah.
She only had one other real boyfriend in her life. And he was like, you know, he got her on heroin. You know what I'm saying? So she was a heroin addict. She was in and out of prison. She was 9 times. She did jail, you know?
Yeah.
She did a prison bid, you know, at the end there, but she was in Caldwell, I think, or whatever, in Jersey, whatever. I don't remember all the jails, but, you know, and, you know, she was like, basically, she was out on parole. She wasn't even, you know, she was on parole. So she was basically not even supposed to be in New York and not prostituting. So she would, you know, she got the fuck out, you know, she got out of there. There's more to that. I'll tell you more later on. We'll get more to that. Like,
so she's obviously living, I guess, a lifestyle kind of on the fringes. I mean, you're doing what you're doing. So obviously, I mean, when you look at it, it's like, all right, she's probably going to accept you for being who you are because at least, you know, you're making money, you're a hustler. So she kind of becomes like a girlfriend of yours, but a willing participant in your actions, so to speak, what you're doing with the steroids, right? And you say you have to start dealing with a lot of Puerto Ricans. When you go in like the Bronx, you're dealing with a lot of stuff like that. I believe you said Latin Kings and things of the sort. So what was that dynamic at that point in time? Let's say like 98, 99, let's say. Is that the people who you're dealing with the most in terms of the steroids? Like, where are you getting them from at that point? You're this huge guy. You've been taking them for 5 years. You're still selling them. Who's the big supplier?
Okay,
your supplier.
What happened is I'm still partners with my boy Paulie. We were drug dealing partners as well as we opened that gym. At the same time, when I met Julissa, we were still working at the gay bar, opened the gym, blah, 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 blah. Actually, we had just finished working at the gay bar. We just had opened the gym when I met her, but it was all that year, 95. So now, what happens is, you know, we were getting all this European shit, but, you know, we wanted to get some American shit. And Paul knew some guys that, you know, you network, you know what I mean? You meet this guy, he needs this, we need that, you know, and then we get his supplier. Sometimes you go above his head. You understand? So now what happened was we met this guy who was like a doctor. And basically, he didn't want to deal with the stuff. He wanted no part of it, but he wanted to make money. So we would deal with his guys, all right? He wouldn't want to touch it. So what he would do is tell you, listen, it's X amount of dollars for a vial of testosterone. So let's say it was, I don't remember, it's maybe $5, okay? So let's say you bought a whole little vial of testosterone for $5, right? Now you can sell it on the street for $100.
Wow.
You know, I was selling it for cheaper because I was selling it in bulk. So I was selling it for $50. But I was getting it for $5, right? So he would tell you, okay, this is what I want you to do. Here's the number for Pedro. I'm making up a name. You call Pedro. You tell him that, you know, you're the guy that the doctor told you about. And, you know, he'll deal with you. So we call the guy up and he'd be like, okay, hey, you know, yes, okay. Some spoke good English. Some spoke no English. You know what I mean? So I'd have her, Julissa, would, you know, tell me what they're saying sometimes. But what was happening is the first guy or two was good. They always changed. Before you knew it, we called this guy Pedro's not answering no more. He's not answering the phone. So now we got to call the doctor. We say, listen, he's not answering. Oh, okay. Don't worry about it. Now, forget him. Here, call this guy right here. His name is Miguel. Tell him who you are. He'll be waiting for you. We call Miguel. Okay. We go down there, and all of a sudden, Miguel will say to us, okay, it's no $5 anymore. It's $6. Now, you may say, well, $6, that's not bad. No, we were buying 2,000 bottles. So if I'm buying 6,000, that's 2,000 basically. You know, if I'm buying $2,000, it's $1 more. That's $2,000 more he's charging me. See, he's putting that in his pocket. You understand? The doctor's already given him Scott, but he's putting that in his pocket. So we'd argue with him, and sometimes we'd have to pay that, and then we'd call up the doc, and he'd be like, no, you're supposed to $5. I say, but he charges us $6. It's too fucking good. Okay. Listen. Fuck Miguel. I'm gonna give you another guy's name. Okay, call Esteban. I'm making names up. I don't even remember their names. Okay, it's been talking a long time ago, and they meant nothing to me anyway because it was just it was a temporary guard. We go meet a new guy. And then that guy would give us this $5. And then boom, next time we meet another guy, that guy would stop, you know, because these guys weren't involved in the steroid world. They had no idea. They couldn't even say the testosterone, or they didn't know how to say even a word. They don't even know what the hell they were selling. They were just making money for this guy. And then we get another guy, and that guy would start, no, it's $7, $7.50, you know, and we'd be like, what the fuck, you know? So shit, we were having problems with these guys sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes it was pretty bad. And one time, I had the guy, and he's like, "Okay, yes, come. At $5, yes, you come." You know, and I had 10 grand on me, okay, and I was gonna buy all this shit. And he's $5, but meet me. No, we would meet a lot of times at where the Stella Doro parking lot is over on the Bronx off of, you know what, remember you may always smell like Stella Doro over there across on the, you know.
Yeah. Yes, cookies.
Diner right across the street called the Land and Sea Diner. We used to go in there all the time. I can tell you stories. We had wars in there where the fucking girls we were with, they were all strippers and shit. He'd be fighting all these black chicks. It was fucking crazy. But, so we go meet now. There's a parking lot over there. We would meet the guys there, or sometimes we'd meet them out by Jimmy Bronx Cafe. This time the guy goes to me, no, you're going to meet me, you know, you come to my house. And I'm like, ooh, that's a little, you know what I mean? You don't want to go to somebody's house. A house that's not normal. You know what I mean? You don't go to somebody's house to buy drugs. You know, they don't want you to know where they live anyway, you know, because they're street thugs. They're not guys that deal, a lot of them guys deal with marijuana. They deal with all hard shit, you know? So the guy goes, no, you come to my house. You know, we do it here, you know. And so I go to the house, and Julissa, we get outside his house. It's right off of Fordham Road. It's like a road or two right off of Fordham. It's one of them side roads. It's the house. They're like row houses almost, you know. So Julissa goes to me, don't go in there. I don't feel good about this shit, you know. And I'm like, I got to do it. You know, I need the shit. You know, it's 10 grand. I got my 10 grand on me and I need the shit. You know, I'll turn that 10 grand into like 30 grand. Okay. She's like, no, don't go. So I'm like, fuck this shit. I got to go. I get there and the fucking guy opens the door, right? And he tells me, come in. And I, you know, if this is after I'm arguing with Julissa. And she's sitting out there and she's waiting. She didn't like it. She had a bad feeling about that shit. I kind of had a bad feeling, but I'm like, what are you going to do? You know, they're the doc's guys. So I go in there and he goes, come with me. We go upstairs. And I'm like, okay. And the house is quiet. There's no kids running around. There's no wife cooking shit. And, you know, where usually you go in there, there's like noise. There's no TV going. There's no nothing. And it's kind of dark. So I'm like an idiot. I just wanted to make the drug. I want to get out of there because we want to go to the club, you know? So we go up there and I go up the stairs and we go to the right and there's a room. And as soon as he opens up the door to the room, this fucking guy says, as I step in, this guy hits me really, really fucking hard on the head. Where I'm talking about, you see, if you've ever been hit like that, you can hear the crack in your ears. You can hear it. And you see like a white fucking flash. Like, I mean, like, I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's so really bad. And I'm like this. And I went to the ground, you know, and I dropped the bag and everything. And the guy puts a shotgun fucking barrel right to my fucking head. And the other guy's like, you know, he's got a fucking gun too. And he's like telling me, you know, give me the fucking, where's all the money? Is it all here? All shit. He's like talking. I didn't know what the fuck he said because my ears are ringing. I'm like in bad shape. And literally.
What did he hit you with?
He hit me with the gun.
Oh, really? Okay.
He hit me with the shotgun. Bang. And I'm talking about, you know, I have a scar. It's on this side of my head, actually. I'm over here. It's this side here. So anyway, I'm bent over and I'm on the ground and I'm bleeding like a fucking everywhere. And I'm not really even sure what the fuck, what really just happened to me. It's like a flash. And next thing I know, all I hear is scream. And then bang, like this. And I see the shotgun drop right in fucking front of me. Okay? Right bang in front of me like that. So I grabbed the shotgun. I'm still fucking like, don't even know what the fuck's going on. And the guy hits the ground, right? I hear her tell you, it's her. Now it's Julissa. Wow. She threw a shot. She hit the guy in the ass, right?
Holy shit.
He dropped down. He's, like moaning. And the other guy, she has the gun right to him like this. And she tells him, put the gun there. It's my gun. I'm over here like it's a shotgun. But she got a handgun. And I always kept the gun in my glove compartment, right? I was arrested with it too, by the way. You've seen it's on that table when you.
Yeah. Go through that.
Right. It's the gun. It's the one gun that I was arrested with. So she yells, you know, put the gun down. He puts it down. And the other guy's just like fucking moaning and shit, you know, because she shot him in the ass. Now, you know, when I tell the story, I don't like to say because I don't want anybody like fucking, the guy didn't die. Okay. You know, it kind of hit the ass and kind of went out like this, like the side. So it's a skim, you know, but he was in pain, man. He was on the ground. And I grabbed the gun, the shotgun, and then I swung it and hit the other guy. Okay, so now she goes to me. Now I'm fucked up. I'm still not, even though I did that, I'm still not sure what is going on. Okay, so she goes to me, grab those. There was an alarm clock, like it did, you know, a little alarm clock like thing. There was an alarm clock on a table thing. She goes, get me that alarm clock and get me that fucking lamp. And she grabs the shit, we take it, and she rips the cord and she ties them up.
Oh, wow.
She takes their clothes off. She actually took the clothes off. She's starting to take the clothes off first. Because I'm like, what are you taking the clothes off for? You understand why are you doing that? And she's like, so they can't come after us. And she threw them out, out the window. That is nobody. Now, this house, I should have known, because like I said to you, when I was going up, it's very quiet. no television, no nothing. You would hear, you know, usually hear other people in the room or kids or fucking TV. So they must have, you know, it was an abandoned house or something. I don't, maybe one of their friends owned the house. I don't know, but there was nobody else there. So we took the guns. There was no motherfuckers had no, there was, you know, no steroids. There was some drugs there that we took, but there was no, you know, what I wanted, there was not really there. You know what I mean? It was actually.
And did you meet these guys before? Were you familiar with these guys?
Never met him.
So they weren't the regular guys you would meet, not the regular Puerto Rican guys or whoever they may be.
This has happened more than once with me, with, you know, it's more than once, you know. And so, you know, I guess they thought they were going to get over on me. I don't know. Maybe they were going to kill me. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? All I know is they hit me fucking hard. And she came in. I kept that gun in the glove compartment. She came in and she was very like mothery with me. Like, you know, okay, oh my God, I was so afraid. I thought you were dead. When I opened that door, I thought you were dead, you know. And that's why I shot him. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and that guy didn't even move. It was like he was dead. He wasn't dead. He was just, I think that they were shocked that this whole thing went down. And you know, I'm not gonna lie. I hit the other motherfucker that walked me up the steps. I hit him a few times with the shotgun. You know, I was, you know, because I was mad, but I was fucked up. You know, and then we got the fuck out of there because they, you know, she took their clothes, she threw them out the fucking window, and we just ran to the car. They had a pound of weed, and I took it, not for nothing. You know, I don't smoke that shit, but I gave it to my friend to sell, and I made money off it. I made like $4,000 off it, but whatever. Because I remember he was like, oh, this is purple haze. This is really good. Whatever. I don't know anything what that means. I don't know anything about weed. I never smoked it. So I have no idea. But anyway, that was like the real first instance where I was like, holy fucking, I'm sitting with her and we're both like, you know, she's like looking at me and she was like, oh my God. And I'm like, you know, and I'm looking at her like, you just fucking shot somebody. You know what I mean? Like you know, the guy didn't die. I know that because I talked to the doctor about it. You know
what year? What year was this?
Oh, that was, I would say it was a year and a half into my relationship with her. So that would make about 96, 97, 96,
okay.
maybe 96, maybe
all
96. Right. You know,
were you close to this at that point?
Oh yeah, I was right by that. Yes, I was already jacked. I wasn't as big. I was pretty goddamn big. Yeah, I was close. I was maybe, I might have been 15, 20 pounds less than that, you know, but I was close to that. Yes.
Okay.
I was already jacked, you know, I was jacked out of my mind. But you got to remember, I didn't see anything. You open it, he opens the door, he steps in, and I'm following him. And next thing you know, it's dark.
Yeah.
You know, there was no lights in that room. He had no light on at all. There was a light, but it wasn't on. She used the cord to tie the fucking guys up. And all I know is I step, and next thing I know, I just see a white, like a flash, like somebody threw a light in your eyeballs. You know what I mean? And the head, though, was bad. You know, I was really, really bad. I should have probably gotten stitches, you know. But
so they were going to kill you?
I don't know if they were going to kill me. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I don't know what I know they were going to rob me. That's for sure. I'm sure they weren't just going to rob me and tell me, okay, go. You know what I mean? After the way they hit me, you know, and it both. Yeah. Were armed, you know? So, I mean, I don't know what was going to happen. All I know is she saved my ass.
That's like a movie.
Yeah. She saved my life. And she was very, what's the word? She was very like rough and you know, maybe because she was arrested so many times and been in and out of jail, and she herself's been in bad situations. She knew what to do. Like, I never would have thought of taking their clothes off and throwing them out the window. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, what the fuck? Why? What is this? You know what I mean? Yeah. And these guys weren't saying a fucking word. They were like, you know, the one guy was just out of it. He was shot. The one that was shot in the ass. But they didn't say a fucking word. They just did whatever she said. She spoke Spanish. Okay. I knew what was going on, but I'm asking, like, why are you throwing? What are we doing? What's with the clothes? Let's just get the fuck out of here. But she's like, no, what if we walk out? What do you know? How do you know they don't have another gun in a closet or in a fucking drawer like that? She goes, no, I'm taking the clothes and we tie them up. And that's what she did. She just ripped the shit right off them and just threw it over in the corner so they can't come out after you. And she just tied their fucking hands up with the cord. The one was the cord from a clock, and the other was a cord from a lamp.
Wow.
And she tied them up. Just rip the cord right out and just ties them up. And then, you know, the closeouts is she did. Now, I wouldn't, you know, I'm like a fucking white boy from fucking, you know, that grew up in Bronx and Westchester. I would never thought of any. I was never in a situation like that. But she knew what to do. I did not. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she knew to take the clothes, to throw the clothes out the window, to tie them up. You know, I wouldn't even, if it was me by myself and I would have, you know, gotten out of there, I would have just ran out of there. Do you understand? I wouldn't have thought like, oh, let me get, you know, I would have ran out of there. Later on, as I got older, like in, like, you know, when you saw me super jacked like that by 1999, I might have said, fuck that. Wait, before I leave, I might have shot them both. You know what I mean? Because I more crazier.
You're in that mind state.
That was my first real taste of fucking craziness, you know, that like, and she was very like, you know, she was very rugged, badass. But then when we were in a car, she was very like, I would have died if something happened to you. I don't, you know, like that kind of shit. And I was like, you know, like, holy shit, you just fucking tied up some dude, shot a guy in the ass, fucking threw the clothes out the window, you know, saved my fucking life, basically. You know, I don't know if they were going to, but I would imagine that's what they were going to do. I mean, I don't know who lives in that house. It might have been somebody on vacation for all I know. They fucking just squatted in there, fucking could have shot me, left me there, and just got the fuck out. They didn't have the steroid. They had drugs, you know, which like I said, I took a weed, and it was other shit. She knew what the fuck it was. But what I'm saying is, they didn't have even my steroids there. So you know, they had no intentions of buying anything from, giving me anything. You know, they just wanted me to come there and take my 10 grand.
Wow. So you're selling steroids for about a couple of years up until that point. You get into serious shit. You got this girlfriend. You're doing a lot of steroids. You're growing by the day. You have this, what seems to be, or at least maybe in your mind, was a near-death experience at that point. But you didn't learn your lesson. Because this was, so you had the gym, you had the powerhouse in Yorktown Heights.
Yes.
So you had your gym, but was steroids your still main source of income? Was that still where the real money? That was where the real money was coming from, right?
Listen, the gym was a money tree, but the fucking steroids,
were
just ridiculous money tree. It was the goose that laid the golden egg. I had basically, it was me, my partner Paul, and another guy named Russ. He's a Momo, but we let him run the gym. Okay, so he ran the gym while me and Paul did our drug dealing shit, you know. So we were making money. We were throwing the money back into the gym and paying. You know, we built this fucking unbelievable gym. It was a legendary gym. But, you know, you let a retard steer the ship, and, you know, meaning him, you know, he wasn't paying the fucking payroll taxes. He wasn't doing shit like that, which got us in a little trouble. That was later on. But we were not paying attention to our own business. It became like a toy to us. We go to work out, do other shit. Then Paulie went down to Florida. You know, there was a lot of crazy shit that happened. But I was with Julissa. We were doing, you know, we were making money left and right. And she would talk to the, you know, Spanish, to the doctor. She talked to the fucking guys. So it was great. So, you know, if they were saying shit, she'd be like, Greg, they're fucking full of shit. They're talking about, you know, they're saying, no. She would say, no. And maybe a little, you know, I didn't understand anything, you know. I only understand, you know, give me the chocha, you know, all that shit. You know, I only understood the dirty shit.
Yeah. So you guys were a team at that point.
Yes, 100%.
Meanwhile, you're still married.
Right.
And I'm sure that marriage is falling apart.
Yes, but
is that something you kept secret from your wife?
She had an idea, you know what I mean?
I'm saying with this whole shotgun incident.
Oh yeah, she didn't know about that. You know, when I got home and you know, I'm fucking, you know, like the back of my head's up here is purple and there's a huge fucking gash there. You know, I told her I got in a fight. That's all.
Okay.
You know? But the thing is, listen to me. You've interviewed, I'm sure, a lot of mafia guys. You've talked to people. You got to know how this is. When you're making a lot of money, and I was making a lot of money, you can buy your wife's silence. Your wife looks the other way because she's getting whatever she wants. I need money. Here. You know what I mean? Here's a bank account. I put $100,000. It's in a bank account for you. Go whatever you need, just take out. You know, it was like that. Now remember, it wasn't like before. I'm collecting cans and getting bottles with her, and now I'm over there fucking. You know, here you go. You know, I'm going out tonight. You know, she never questioned it because I'm coming home with fucking I'm going out tonight. Look, I got none in my pockets. Watch how much money I come home with. And she's not going to question that because I come home here. What is the kid? I remember my son wanted a scooter that you stand on that kids have now. This is when it first came out. You know what I mean? You know, scooter that you stand on, right? And he had a motorized one. And I got him one from BJ's, and I paid like $800 for it. Now they're fucking cheap, you know? But I paid like $800 for it. The problem was it had a seat. So now he gets the scooter, and he can sit on it and drive around like this. And my wife's like, well, you know, he really wanted this stand-up one. You got him the one with the seat. So I'm like, all right, whatever, fuck it. I went right back to BJ's and I bought him the other one, the one that he stand up. Yeah. I didn't even take the other one back. I'm like, all right, give it to somebody. I don't care. The one with the seat. I just spent $800. You're going to give it to somebody. Like, you think about this now. Yeah. But back then I had the money. I didn't even care. I didn't care. Oh, I lost $100 bill. I could tell you stories. I went to the movies with her. And I'm sitting up. And I sit with my legs up like this, you know, with my legs on a chair in front of us, and I'm watching a movie. We leave. I get out into the parking lot. I'm like, motherfucker. I had $300 in my pocket, right? Excuse me. I had $300 in my pocket. Because it was sitting like this, it fell out. I just walked out of the movie theater. I run back in. The cleaning crew's in here. None of them speak English, of course. And I run right to where I was sitting. The money's gone. Right? I said, dude, you find $300 here. I love it. And they were all like, don't know, you know? So I lost that money. I was pissed about it, but it did. It's $300 is what, like, it was, you know, most people would want to, you know, you'd fucking somebody. Same thing happened with my wife. We were at a diner. I'm stupid, bro. You have no idea. I'm the biggest idiot you've ever met. I'm over here and we're at the diner. We're the last people there. They're closing the diner, but they're used to us. They know that we always eat there. So they're like, oh, you know, they even know what we want. You know, we didn't eat no burgers and shit. I was eating steaks. This diner, I knew the cook. He would make these fat steaks for me with your jus, all this other shit. So I'm in the diner, and now there's just a cook. They closed the kitchen. He's mopping up the floor to cook, you know. The waitress and the owner of the diner, who's an old lady. She was at the front of the diner. This is an old diner, right? She's at the front, and she's doing all the receipts. We get up, we walk out. I walk out the front steps. As we're walking out, we say goodbye to the girls cleaning off the table, right? The waitress. Walk down the front steps. I go, oh shit! Oh my god! I left my envelope on it, you know, with my money in it. I left it on the table. I run in there, and it's not there. It's gone. Now, the old lady didn't move. Right? And the cook's still in the back with the mop. So it's obviously, it's the waitress. I had $1,750 in my envelope. I'm like, yo, you took my money. She's like, I didn't take anything. I swear to God, I didn't see any money. Now, I used to leave this girl big tips too, this bitch, you know? And I'm like, no. And I'm telling the old lady's like, what happened? What's the matter? And I'm like, and, you know, they're looking under the tables. You know, the waitress who's playing the game, looking under the tables. We'll go in the back. Maybe, you know, maybe you thought it was a napkin, you know what I mean? Because there's white napkins, you know, because it was a white envelope, you know. And I never got it back. She took it. You know how you know when somebody lies and they kind of can't look you in the eye, you know what I'm saying? Like, she couldn't look me in the eye.
For sure, yeah.
Stole it, you know. Now everybody else tells me I would have called the cops and had them come there and wouldn't let her leave, like check her backpack or whatever. This is a long time ago, you know. This is before my daughter was born. I was with Julissa at the time. We had just started. It was around 1995ish, 1996. But I'm saying I lost that kind of people would kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? To lose that, you know, like lose. You just leave it, like, you know. I was just like, yeah, fuck it. You know what I mean? That bitch needs it. Fuck her. You know what I mean? Like, because I had so much money. But literally years before that, I was over there collecting cans and bottles, you know?
Right,
so
right.
That starts getting like, you're like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I could see it, man. I could see how you have so much of something where, you know, it almost becomes of no value.
Right.
The money is valuable to most people, but it seems like at some point you had so much of it coming in that it was just like it became meaningless to you, I suppose.
Right. Some guy gave it to me for a bunch of shit. He put it in that white envelope. I had it. I took it out of my pocket to pay for the dinner. You know, it wasn't much. and I left. I must have left it right there and not picked it back up, and then probably took it and probably it was, you know.
So I want to fast forward to the late 90s because I wonder, because you're a well-known individual in this world, right? Of bodybuilding. And you're also selling a lot of steroids and making a lot of money.
Yes.
So with the fame and notoriety from being this guy, let's say 99, right before Y2K.
Right.
You've been in this thing for over 20 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Almost going on 30.
Yes, more like 30-ish, yes.
More like 30. But you're also doing this illicit activity, and I gotta believe that everybody knows it, right? I mean, everyone's in your little world has to know it. So you're juggling this illicit fame. I'm getting this little reputation from doing this, and you have this legitimate reputation on the other side. That didn't make you paranoid?
No, because I had pro bodybuilders calling me up. Yo, bro, can I get this? Can I get that? Can I get this? I had pro bodybuilders coming in the gym buying shit from me. I had cops. You know how many cops take steroids? You know,
well, yeah. I mean, all the cops in that story that I just did about Tartaglio, he was a cop. His buddy was a cop. They're all fucking chock full of roids.
Yeah, a lot of cops do steroids. It's a you know, I almost feel like they should. But here's the thing:
steroids and jujitsu, all cops. I think that's what we need.
Jiu-jitsu. Well, jiu-jitsu is more of a new thing ever since the UFC, since the early 2000s. Now everybody's doing jiu-jitsu. But the thing is that one time, I'll tell you what, this is how stupid some of those cops were. You know, I was down there, and I got pulled over. I was meeting with the Polish guy, you know, and Julissa was with me. We met, and the cops came in, and they're looking at us. We're in this like little eatery down in New York City, and we left. And I'm driving, and fucking lights come, and he pulled me over. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm fucked, because I just bought ampules from him of Omnidrin, like Polish sustenance, all this other shit. And like, you know, he had the ampules of like Windstroke, which is like, there's these they're little glass ampules, okay, that you crack at this and you draw. If anybody here watches, you know, knows about steroids, you know what I'm talking about. So I pulled over, right? And I'm like, oh no. And the fucking cop opens up, you know, I have it in the back. Cop pulls me and her out of the car. Cop opens up and he goes, what the fuck are you doing with all this shit? And I'm like, that's it, I'm done. Here we go. That's where I'm going to get arrested. You know what I'm saying? I felt like, remember my cousin Vinny at the end, where Mr. Gambini, and he goes like this, okay, lock me up, you got me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And next thing the guy goes, what the fuck are you doing with all this shit? He goes, why are you driving around with perfume samples? Because they look like, you know, when you get a little perfume sample.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looked like to him anyway. And I said, nah, it's just, you know, I got him. I'm bringing him to, I own a gym, you know, and I bring him to the girls at the gym and all this shit. And
Oh, my God.
He let me go.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? The other guy, the Polish guy I was with, he had all fucking steroids. Like, but we used to make deals. I would get those kind of shit, the European shit from him now. And he would get the American shit, the steroids, like the, you know, the vials of testosterone. He would get that from me, and DECA and all that other shit. So he got pulled over by NYPD. The guys get in there. He told me the two cops pull him over, uniform cops. They pull him over. You know, the guys that pulled me over were detectives, but the guys that pulled him over were uniform cops. And they go in there. They see all the steroids. They tell him, get out of the fucking. He drove a truck. Get out of the truck. He gets out of the truck. They take the steroids. They put him in the trunk of the fucking police car and drive off.
Wow.
That's a true story, bro. That's a true story. I was like, you're going to see some jack cops now, bro.
Yeah.
They didn't bother. They didn't arrest him or nothing. He said, he thought the same thing. He said, I thought I was going to get arrested. He said, they took my shit and they fucking just drove off. So there you go.
Wow. Well, it's better than the other thing that could have happened from that, I suppose.
Yes, he thought it was going to happen, but he's like, like, you know, back the fuck up. And the one cop took the boxes like this, and they opened up the trunk, threw it in the fucking police car, and he told the guy, get out of here, and he just drove off. That was it.
Wow. I'm taking your perfume samples with me. No.
Well, the ones that look at perfumes, he had
those are the real ones, right? Yeah.
Testosterone, right? A steroid. Testosterone. And the thing.
So in the year 2000,
Mhm.
you're still with Julissa. She's still your girlfriend. You're still doing your steroids. But in September of 2000, she would lose her life.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Due to she was still doing drugs, heroin.
What happened was, okay, we got divorced at the end of '99. So now we're divorced. You know, she found out about Julissa, and she had dealt with it so much, and I rubbed it in her nose so much, in her face so much, and I was just spending so much more time with Julissa than I was with her. And even though I was giving her a lot of money, she just was like, I can't take it anymore. Now it's like, because I rubbed it in her face. She was a great woman, great wife. 100% my fault, 0% her fault. Okay. So, so what happened was I took my kids away on vacation, and with her for a couple of days. And then when I got home, Julissa had stayed a couple of days with her friend, but she had a cold. She had a little bit of a cold, and she was like a baby. Whenever she had a cold, she'd be like, "Oh my God, I got a cold. Give me give me Terraflu. Give me this. Give me, let me take this. What else do you have? Oh, you got to give me 2 of those. You know what I mean? Oh, Sudafed, give me 1 of those. You know what I'm saying? She was like that. You know what I mean? So even if she had like a pain, oh, what do you have? Tylenol? Give me 2 of them. No, give me 3 of those Tylenols. And you got Advil? Give me 2. Give me 3 of those. You know what I mean? And she was like that. So she had a cold, so she was taking shit, and she was at a friend's house. So I come down there, and I'm with her, and she was also a little depressed because of me taking a wife and kids, the ex-wife. Now she's my ex-wife now. Now she's my ex-wife, okay? And but I still want to be there for the kids. So I said, "What's the big deal?" And she's like, "But when do I get to go on vacation? You keep doing these things. I don't want to take your kids away, but why can't you and I take the kids? Or why does you always have to be with her and do everything with her?" And I'm like, "Look, what do you want me to do? I have to do this for the kids." And so she was a little depressed. So when you're depressed, what do? Give me an antidepressant. You got to give me another one of those antidepressants. What else do you have? Oh, you got a Valium? Give me one of those too. So she was like that. And I didn't know it, but and she's around these other girls who are all whores. They're fucking whores, strippers, everything. They're all no good. But that's her friends, and she didn't see them a lot because she was with me all the time. So now, but I being out, I'm away. She's like, I told her, go stay with them, let them, hang out with you, give you a chance to be with your friends, because that's my thinking. That'll appease her and let me get her off my ass for taking away the kid. So now. So we go, I come down there, and she's, "You better fucking take me out tonight." So I said, "Okay, we're going out. Don't worry about it." We drove around, and we went to the Vault. Do you know the Vault in New York City? Do you remember the Vault?
No, I don't.
The S&M Club over there on 14th Street? There's down below the ground. It's a
I've probably heard of it before. Yeah, I mean, I know the idea of it. Yeah.
Some of you guys watching, and you might know, you fuckers know what I'm talking about. I've been there too, so don't get out of here. Anyway, so well, I don't know why, but I took her and she invited her friend. So her and her friend, and I was like, we were all crazy that night, so because me and her like to get freaky. So I took her to the Vault, and I was I don't drink, but she was not feeling well, so I told her to have a drink. So I pump her with some drinks and beers and shit, and she can't have. She was one of those, like the girlfriend I have now, who I've been with for 18 years, half a drink, and she's like, drunk. You know what I mean? So she was tipsy, and I brought her home. Back. She was going to come home with me. I told her, "Listen, see, this is why I have guilt too." I told her, "Stay one more night with your friends, because tomorrow morning, my son is pitching a game. So I think I'm going to go over to the ex-wife's house, sleep on the couch, so I can take him." Because he's starting, it's like at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. He was pitching a game in Little League. And she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And she's like, "You're going to go over there and you're going to sleep over there." And I said, "Well, what's the point? I don't want to, I'm not going to sleep down here, go back home with you. And then, you're going to give me grief. Just stay here." And we had a big fight. We had a really big fight. It was a big argument. And I told her, "Go fuck yourself." And I was mad. I go and I go home and my son pitches a game, and she was mad at me, and she's like, I'm really sick and I don't feel well. And we had an argument, and I said, well, what do you want me to do? And she goes, I don't care what you do. Just I want to go home, but I'm just, I guess I'll just sleep. I said, do you want to sleep there one more night? You want to sleep it off? Because she can't move, she's really sick. She had, with a cold. Yes, I'll sleep it off, but come get me in the morning. You better come get me. I said, I'll come get you. Relax, I'll get you. Call me in the morning and I'll come get you. Now I go to the gym and I'm waiting for her to call. And I see that I have a missed call from her, but she called at like 2 a.m. All right. I had already been sleeping and shit. She called me at 2 a.m. and I didn't pick up. Next thing I know, I see the phone ring, and it's from her friend. It's her friend's phone at the house where she was staying. And I answer the phone, and I hear, I can hear in the background, and like this, I hear radios going, and I'm like, wow, that sounds like cops and shit. I go, hello? And it's a guy. And he goes, yeah, who is this? And I said, who's this? And he goes, no, this is Officer so-and-so. I want to know who I'm speaking to. And I said, oh, my name is Gregg. And he goes, Gregg what? And I said, Gregg Valentino. He goes, okay, Gregg, I might have the right guy here. And I said, what are you talking about? You might have the right guy. Where's Julissa? He goes, give me a second, please. And he goes to me, I think Julissa's here, right here. He goes, I need to know something. I need to identify if it's Julissa that's with us right now. And I go, well, just put her on the phone. And he goes, no, first you answer my question. He goes, does Julissa have any tattoos? And I said, yes, she does. And he says, tell me what tattoo, where's the tattoo and what is it? I said, on her back, she had 2 hearts. One said my name, Gregg. That's how they knew it was me. And then the other said Julissa. And it was for 2 hearts that beat as one. And he said, okay, all right, I think we got Julissa. And I said, she had a tattoo of a star around her belly button. And he goes, okay, yeah, we have Julissa. She's here. And I said, well, put her on the phone. And he goes, you don't understand. She's gone. And I go, what do you mean she's gone? He goes, she's gone. She's not with us. And I said, you just said she's there. He goes, no, you don't seem to understand. You don't get it. He goes, she passed away. And I thought, what? Well, I couldn't process what he was saying. I was like, he goes, she's gone. I need you to come down to the police station. And I'm like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't even function. And I hung up the phone, and I'm sitting there and I'm just staring. And I wait before I hung up, I said, has anybody talked to her mother? And he goes, no, you're the only person we talked to. And I'm sitting there and I'm like in a fucking, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that my girl was gone. I could not believe, how could she die and leave me alone? How could she do that to me?
Yeah. So
I quickly call her mother. And as soon as I hear the mother's voice, because she was very close with her mother, as soon as I hear her mother's voice, I started crying really hard.
Yeah.
And the mother's like, who's this? Who is this calling me on my phone? Why are you crying? Who is this? And I said, it's me. Her mother's name was Maria. And I said, Maria, it's me, Gregg. And she goes, no. She knew. I didn't even have to say, because there's no reason for me to call her crying. She threw the phone down, and her sister picks up and grabs the phone and says, who's this? Who's making my mother cry? Who is this? What's going on? And I said, Linda, it's me, Gregg. They're telling me Julissa passed away. And they started screaming. So now I took them. I had to go down to New York City, and I went to the morgue with the sister, and it was horrible because the sister started climbing on the body. No.
My God.
And I'm over there, and I have to try to contain myself. I'm crying and everything, but I'm trying to pull the sister off the fucking gurney, because there's a dead body lying there. The morgue worker's off in the corner just standing there. And he comes running over, and I'm like, I got it, please, I got it, and I'm like, Linda. And I remember kissing her, my girlfriend. And I was like, she's not there. she's not there. I kissed her and she was cold. And I said she would have kissed me back because that's the way she was. She was so loving and kind of, it was like my world just crashed. You know what I mean? You know, because everything, and I blame myself. Even to this day, I have terrible guilt because I should have told her come home, or I should not have, you know what I'm saying? I let her stay with those fucking demons over there. I actually talked to the what do you call it? What do you call it? Jesus Christ! They gave the medical examiner.
Okay, yeah.
It was a woman, New York City medical examiner. And I talked to her and I said, what happened to her? And she said, she had 7 different medicines in her. And I said, did she take heroin? And she goes, we're not sure. She said she had, she had so much opiate poisoning. Wow. She very well could have done heroin too. And there was heroin in the room. Now, she would never have bought heroin. It's because of the demons that her friends were fucking, they were all drug addicts, all heroin addicts, all bad. And I was like, I couldn't believe, and it was so fucking surreal to me because, I had told you the story earlier about the Hal Cameron's thing, but I'm just saying, it was just so surreal to me. I couldn't function for a long time. I mean, I could not function. I mean, it was like stuff like, even if I saw a picture of somebody, I'd be like, oh my God, look at this picture. I got to show Julissa to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't explain it to you. You know what I mean? Like it was, and it took very many years, like I can tell the story now. I'm all cried out, but I usually can't even tell it. I mean, there's many times I've told the story on the internet and I start crying and stuff. It's just, and I just, the anniversary of her death was just a couple days ago. I mean, she died September 10th.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
2000. I keep saying 2020. September 10th, 2000. So it was one day and a year before 9/11.
Right.
On 9/11, I went outside the house where she died in New York City, and I spray painted, I love you, Julissa. Right? I was spray painting. A cop actually saw me. He gave him 2 shits. He's like, I don't even give a shit. And he drove away. But I was spray painting that. I was putting candles out there on the, outside where they took her down and everything. And then I went and met my friend Paulie, my partner. And I met him at the Around the Clock Diner in New York City. And we left around 7-ish. And then by the time I got home up here in Westchester, I walked in the door. My father's like, 2 planes just hit the a plane, whatever, just hit the
yeah.
And I'm like, I couldn't be. I was right there. The Around the Clock Diner's a block or 2 away from the Twin Towers. I mean, you can see them. You know what I mean? So it was just surreal. But I mean, like, to this day, I still have dreams. Like, sometimes I'll have a dream that Julissa's still alive.
Wow.
She's hiding from me. She's hiding from me. Like, I find out she's living 2 towns over, and I drive over there to get her, and she won't see me. She doesn't want anything to do with me. You know what I mean? Like, I have this because I have guilt because I left her alone and I didn't take her on vacation. I did all, you know what I mean? But that's just that.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing. I mean, I know you've told the story before. I know it's tough. I mean, but I definitely appreciate you opening up and sharing that situation. To me, it's always the phone call, that it's like because I've had like 3 bad phone calls in my life.
Yeah,
it's always that phone call that plays in my head a couple of times. Every once in a while, that phone call, I'll get that in my head and I'll start thinking about the whole situation. And it's
what, Brett,
we've all.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I had the double whammy because not only did I get the bad phone call, but then I had to call her mother.
Right.
And tell her mother that this happened.
Yeah.
So I had to be the one making the bad call and doing the call, and it just knocked me off my feet, and it actually changed my life. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways, because I would have done bad things. I was in a few other situations. I don't know how much you could go on. If you want to, I can talk for another 2 hours. It doesn't matter. But I was in some bad situations where I was going to kill somebody. But that God intervened and I didn't do it because of the person got away before I can get there. You know what I mean? And shit, there's a few instances like that, but I would have done it. I was going to, my whole, you know, the one guy I was going to kill was at my house. And, you know, I was at the gym and he tried to break into my house at like 2 a.m. and he ran through this, where I lived, there's a service road in the back, you know, it's through the little woods and and he jumped on a motorcycle and another guy and he got out of there. But when I was on my way there, my wife was hiding with the kids. She heard them trying to break in the house and she took the kids and they hid in a closet. I'm not sure if it was a bathroom or closet. It was a long time ago, so I don't remember. It was either a bathroom or a closet. I think it might have been a bathroom. The closet was a walk-in closet, but the closet didn't have a lock on it. So it was probably the bathroom. She hid in there. She called me at the gym and she's like, you better get your ass over here. He's coming in the windows. They're going to kill us. You know, they were afraid. My kids were little and they scared shit. And I was like, the audacity to come to my house. So I had 2 handguns with me. And while I'm driving to my house, I'm like, okay, listen to me. You get them, you fucking shoot them, and then you go on top of them and you fucking finish them off. You make sure you get the fucking empty the guns in their heads. That's what I kept saying to myself. Wow. Empty the guns in their fucking head. You go, you make sure that if they're down, you finish them off. You empty the guns in there. And never did I think, holy shit, I'm going to go to jail for life for doing that wrong. In my mind, in my brain, I was justified. I was totally justified. God saved me because when I got there, they had just run through the woods. I could hear them jump on the motorcycles and get out. I didn't have time. I couldn't go chase them. I would never have caught them. You know what I mean? I ran towards the woods, but it was, you know, they just took off. There's no way for me to get. But
I'm sorry, this was a random targeting of your home, and these were guys you had issues with.
No, I see. I didn't tell the whole story here. It's the story I told you. You know, if you watched it on Generation Iron, where my daughter saved my life, it was a guy I grew up with that I was very close with, that I knew my whole life, and I never thought he would fuck me, but he fucked me. You know what I mean? He fucked me. And
so this was personal.
It was personal. I mean, I don't give a shit about, you know, whatever happened.
Yeah.
You know, I had lost my marbles. I'd lost my marbles. I was, you know, Julissa was still alive when this happened. This was just before she died. But you know, I had lost my marbles and I was ready. I kept saying to myself, you shoot them, you take them down, and then you fucking empty the gun in their head. Yeah, because I was, you know, I was like psyching myself up. You shoot them, they're gonna get you. Fucking make sure you fucking I had 2 guns. I was gonna put them right over their heads. Bam, 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 like this on their heads. Thank God they weren't there. You know what I mean?
It's amazing, man. And I see those pictures of you, and like, I'm thinking of those pictures of you in the late 70s. It's like, you know, 19-year-old kid. And then it's just like the way your life progressed. It's wild stuff, man. But I mean, we're not done though. I mean, because, you know, and I'm not trying to laugh about it, but you know, you had the tragedy with Julissa. You had that tragedy in September of 2000.
Yeah.
And the hits just keep coming.
Oh, it just didn't end. I mean,
I think it was April of 2001.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play a news clip right now. We could watch it together if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
Mr. Gregg Valentino.
I'm ready.
Finally hit the big time.
Amount of illegal steroids. News 12 Westchester's Rob Hoyle reports it appears the man wasn't just selling them.
One look at Gregory Valentino's arms and you know something's going on. The 40-year-old is charged with criminal possession of anabolic steroids with intent to sell. Police say they found $75,000 worth of the illegal muscle-building drugs at his home and at the Powerhouse Gym in Yorktown where Valentino is a part owner.
These steroids are considered illegal because of the damage that
I'm going to pause it. It's a little fuzzy. I mean, many people might recognize this woman, Judge Janine Pirro, who was a district attorney at that time of Westchester. That's her right there. Obviously, 25 years younger. You might catch her on Fox News crying about something here and there. But she was going after Gregg Valentino back in 2001.
that they cause to the human body. And unfortunately, the spin out there is that, well, this will help you build your muscle. The bottom line is it can cause all kinds of damage to your body, including liver damage, cancer.
The bust was the result of a 3-month investigation by the DA's office with Yorktown and State Police. Gym member Nick DeFusco was not surprised.
Almost any kind of sport today, you know, whether they admit it or not, in football, baseball, basketball, there's some kind of use there and stuff. But I think that, you know, where it draws the line, if young kids get their hands on it and stuff, it's just like fire. You constantly playing around with it, you're going to get burned.
But others who exercise at the Powerhouse Gym never suspected a thing.
It seems to be a nice place to work out, so, you know, like they usually come here very early in the morning or very late at night, so I was very happy with it so far.
Valentino is being held at the county jail on $75,000 bail, and he faces more than just drug charges. Cops said they also found illegal guns at his home. The investigation is ongoing. Pirro says the charges against Valentino will most likely be upgraded, and the Yorktown Police Department says more arrests are possible. In Yorktown, Rob Hoyle, News 12 Westchester.
So in the news, because you made the actual physical news, this is the article. Local gym owner busted for steroids. Gregg Valentino, 40 years old, of Yorktown. They found steroids, estimated value of $75,000, both in your gym and at your home. Illegally loaded handgun, revolvers were also seized, and basically you did make bail, right? It says it was held at the county jail since late Friday on $75,000 bail in Yorktown Justice Court you were released on a $75,000 bond. Okay, after your attorney successfully argued to have bail reduced. So
no, see what happens is I wasn't released on those $75,000. They kept me. I don't know why that all goes wrong. I never even.
Wow. Well, that's the old news. I'm always finding bullshit in these old news archives.
They denied me bail. What happened was they denied bail. They said, "Wait a minute, we need what's called a source hearing." So they had to go through all this other shit, and they kept me in jail for that. The source hearing, because they denied my bail. My bail was $250,000, $75,000 cash. But then they changed it to $250,000. You know, you can go check police papers or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
And they denied me bail, so they had to have a whole trial to see if I would, because because then they found money. You know what I mean? They confiscated money from $250,000. They took my truck, all told, they got over $450,000, almost $500,000. They took $500,000 from me, total. And, I got to be honest with you. What saved my ass was my sister going down there. And because, I had done what you're never supposed to do. I talked on a fucking phone at jail. All right. And I told my father, go bail me out, give me the money and bail me out. So they followed him. He had money in a safety deposit box, my money. All right. He put it in a safety deposit box. And I never went to that bank. And they followed him to the bank and they took it. And then they tried to arrest him. And he's 70 at the time. He was 75, some were even older, And he didn't know what the fuck. He didn't even know where the money came from. He had no idea what I was doing. He no nothing. I just told him, hold this money. So he had $250,000 they took. So my sister went down to Pirro's office, right? And she said, listen, I want that money back. And they're like, whoa, you ain't getting that money back. She said, no, my brother never went to that fucking bank. You proved to me that my brother went to that bank. He has nothing to do. He just said to my father, get the money and get me out of here. What does that mean? She said, that doesn't mean anything. That was my mother's safety deposit box. She got in 1964. My brothers never stepped foot in that bank. My brothers never put money. That money came. We have saved money over the years after my mother died, despite all this bullshit. And they were like this. And they didn't want to give the money back.
Wow.
Well, it was a big source hearing. I'm sitting in a jail and then shit. And then what happened was they decided, look, if we give the money back, he's going to jail for anywhere from 3 to 5, maybe 7 years. If you let us keep the money, we'll make a deal where we'll let him out. And then he's got to do 6 years probation. So she comes to me. I'm sitting in jail and she goes to me, listen, they'll have a source hearing. Once they find out, the source hearing is to where's the money going to come from to bail him out. All right. So my father was going to put up the house. That's what he did. He put up his house. That's the source. And she said, you have to make, you got to tell me that you're willing to just let him keep the money. She goes to me, don't be an idiot, you know, because you can always make money again. She goes, but you can't get back the time. Otherwise, you will get the money back, but you're going to sit in jail, you know, for it depends on what charges, you know, if they upgrade the charge, you're going to go away for 7 years. So I'm saying it's a no-brainer. Let him keep the fucking money. I'll make money again. You know what I mean? And that's how all of that went down. See, that article came out before I was even out of jail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know how they said I got to, you know, there was no 75,000. It was 250, you know?
Wow.
I wish, because I remember even sitting in jail and there were guys like, you know, this guy fucking carjacked a car and killed somebody shit and his bail was like 10 grand. I'm like, shit, I should have killed somebody. You know what I mean? You know, it's just fucking.
That's crazy.
Shit.
So they hit you with a little friendly extortion or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I mean,
the DA later on had told me, the assistant district attorney had told me, not for nothing, but your sister's fucking good. You know, my sister was really good looking too and everything. And they were like, your sister's like, we could use her because she was like playing hardball with him. It proved that he never stepped foot in that bank. That bank has no knowledge of him. Show me a video, show me a signature, show me that he went to that fucking box and they couldn't do it.
wow.
There was no evidence of me ever stepping, but I didn't even know where the money was. I had no clue. I had no clue where that money was. I just told my father, yeah, to hold on to this for me. I didn't know he put it on. For all I know, he kept it in his shoebox. I don't know where he put it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is the mugshot from that.
Yes, that's my mugshot.
That's your mugshot from that arrest. So up until this point, this is something that's been building up, I guess, for a long time. I mean, in the back of your mind, you had to know, I'm going to get fucking busted one day. This is going way. I mean, you got in trouble, a little danger. You almost maybe got killed. But in the back of your mind, you had to assume, all right, one day I'm getting fucking busted for this.
Well, what happens is I was around wise guys. Now, I was around a very famous wise guy's son. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say who it is. You know who it is because we've talked.
Yeah.
Okay. And he used to say to me, you do this until either you get arrested or you get killed. He goes, but nobody just starts making money like the we're making.
Right.
And just says, you know what, I'm done. Cash in my chips. It's like when you start winning big at Vegas. Very few people, you just can't stop winning. You're just making a shot. Oh, and you're like, one more time. And you go, just fuck it, one more time. And you just keep doing it until he said to me, either you get killed or you get arrested, you know? And he was right. And when I got arrested, I remember sitting in a police car and I'm thinking, okay, this is how it ends. You know what I mean? Okay. I was ready for it. Like mentally, I thought I was ready for it, but I kind of wanted it to end, not the money part, but it had cost me Julissa. I'm alone now. My ex-wife now moved on, met somebody else, is now married. You know what I mean? And, and there's issues with the children, you know what I mean? All kinds of other shit. I lost everything. You know what I mean? They took everything from me, the cops, and my car, I had a brand new Yukon, and it was paid off. I fucking paid that guy cash, dude. You have no idea I'm supposed to do that. I finagled shit, paid 45 grand cash. But that's the there. The thing is, I lost everything. Okay. And, I knew that, like, okay, it was too much. When even if you talk to wise guys, you know what I mean? If you talk to even what, and now looking back on it, they're all like, you know what? I'm relieved. If you said, would you go back and make all that money again? They'd be like, dude, no. You know what I mean? I'm relieved. I was relieved because you never know how it's going to end. It's almost like you're always looking over your shoulder. You know what I mean? Every time a car was following me or something, I'm like, why is that guy following me? You know what I mean? I saw them following me. I knew that they were following me.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow.
I can tell you now, I was tipped off by somebody. There was a cop that told me shit's going to happen. And he told me, as we're talking, that cop, Jeanine Pirro, wanted to arrest him because she knew he tipped me off. But he didn't get arrested. But he was like, dude, look over in that parking lot over there. Do you see that van? He goes, that's them. They're sitting there watching me talking to you right now. He goes, now I got to try to get myself out of this. And we're just friends. We grew up together, me and the cop and everything. So, we made believe we bumped into each other, but, it was planned. He was in uniform. He was in a police car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said, well, they're going to take you down. Yeah, I'm just letting you know that. He goes, they're right there. And I was looking.
Holy shit.
And I'm still friends with that guy today, to this day. He's no longer a cop. He hasn't been a cop a long time. But, you know, I mean, you know, you get relieved. If you talk to a wise guy, dude, I was around some of them wise guys. And I've been to the social clubs where they are. I've been to, dude, everybody in that club, you don't know who the fuck to trust. You just see a guy looking at you for no reason. And you're like, does that guy want to fucking kill me? What did I do? Did I do something to that guy? Like, why is he looking? I met Junior Gotti once. It was actually at Scores, and I was with somebody who was friends with him. Mm-hmm. He brought me over to him, and I wasn't super big yet. This is actually when I first started doing the drug dealing. Before I was really, I don't think I started taking steroids yet. It was just.
Well, he was into that at one point too. I mean, he was.
Oh yeah. I bet you anything. He probably bought shit off of somebody that I got it because I was the guy bringing all the steroids and shit. But regardless, when I met him, okay, we didn't hang out or anything, but I mean, I met him and he just was like, they look at you and they just, you know, I say, how you doing? And you know, you don't even want to shake their hand. They'll look at you, just do this. And he's with a bunch of guys and they're all sitting back and they're staring at you like this. And I'm like, you know, like, holy fuck. Have you ever been in a room with a dog that's a badass dog, like a fucking pit bull or something?
Yeah. And I'm the worst because I give off the scared energy too.
Me too. I have a friend that has a dog like that.
I'm like,
and that dog just staring at me like this, and it knows. And I'm like, that dog looks like he's going to pounce on me.
Yeah.
Pounce. You know what's funny? I have a friend. This is true story. I have a friend that has a cat that's like that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
The cat's his wife's cat, and it actually attacked his wife and put her in the hospital.
That's wild.
That's how bad this cat is. And I actually looked at this cat, and this cat ran at me and jumped. I was like sitting in a room, and he's across the room, and I'm like, and I'm looking at the cat, and it's staring at me. And I'm like, dude, your cat looks like it's fucking ready to run after me. He goes, don't fuck around. He goes, I'm serious. Don't try to pet it. Don't even look at it. And the cat goes, no, it doesn't. Comes right at me, and I smacked it in the air. And I'm like, holy fuck, get this fucking cat. And if the guy, my friend, had to grab it. And this cat's, I've never seen a cat like that. It's like a dog. I mean, if that cat was big, I would have been fucked. If that was like a lion or something, I would have been food. You know what I mean? So, but that's the way I felt when I was with these guys. You look at them, and they're all looking at you, just staring at you like this. And if you look at them and you go, how you doing? They don't say anything. Sometimes they'll just give you like this.
Yeah.
They don't look. So I was like telling my friend's name is Tony. I told him, Tony, dude, let's go sit somewhere else. I don't even be around this guy, you know. So it's just, I mean, those guys are fucking, you know, it's no joke. But every single one of them, after they get busted, feel the same way I did. Okay, it finally ended, because you never know how it's going to end, and you get tired of thinking like what's going to come behind you, who's going to show up. You know, I had a million different instances, and you never know if somebody from the past. You know, you just never know.
So after you get arrested, you go through this whole thing. You make it out. Where you get the 6 years probation.
Right.
It's kind of a double blessing, though. It almost ends up being. One of the blessings is you're tired. Maybe you're tired of living this lifestyle. How's it going to end? When is it going to end? Finally ends. It's over. All right. That's a blessing. And then you're going to start getting notoriety as this guy with these freaky arms who got arrested. You end up on the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. They're playing clips of you. It almost becomes like a running joke, actually, it seems, on that show where Jon Stewart would pull up clips of you.
Most of the room seemed to approve, though one unruly congressman had to be escorted out of the chamber. You should know better, Representative Donald Blatz Johnson of Idaho.
Jon Stewart. I sent you one, I think, but I could say there's like 5 or 6 others. And Louis Black, the comedian.
For a segment we call Back in Black.
Now, maybe the Fed should take a little lesson from our local police departments. Just take a look at this guy. He was busted last week for selling a controlled substance, and you'll never guess which one.
So you start kind of almost becoming this this person, like, who the hell is this guy? So people are making jokes about you. You're starting to become somebody else, I guess. Maybe you're crossing over into this whole I don't know what you call it, popular culture, I guess you can call it, moving forward. And you're going to spend a lot of the 2000s making television show appearances. You're going to go on Tyra Banks, Jay Leno, Ripley's Believe It or Not is going to say you have the biggest arms in history.
ESPN,
Vice, everything. But
yeah,
in 2006, there's this documentary that comes out. I believe it was 2006. The man whose arms exploded.
Right.
And this is a company that makes this. They're based, I guess, in the UK or England somewhere, right? Overseas.
Firecracker Films did it for the BBC, but then TLC picked it up, and it was played on TLC continuously.
Right. And I guess it's kind of named after something that happened with you. There's other characters in this thing. So this is a film that I saw many years ago. I don't know how long after it came out that I saw it. And I'll play some clips of this, as we talk here. We'll edit this stuff in. So this documentary basically is about the bodybuilding scene, around the globe, and then it talks about steroids. And you are one of the individuals in this, and we get to see you in prime, this version of you. And there's a part in this documentary where they end up naming the documentary after this incident, where we are led to believe that you took so many steroids that your arms literally exploded. Now, when I saw it, I said, yeah, that's what he did. Of course, he took too much. And I remember watching you sucking out the hematoma and filling up these cups with blood and liquid and whatever it is. And to be honest with you, I don't know if you watch that back every once in a while, if you think about it, pretty fucking disgusting, Greg.
Yeah, it is
pretty gross. However, that wasn't really the true story. I mean, you didn't take so many steroids that your arm just decided that I'm going to blow up today. There was actually more to the story. That was kind of a narrative that was built around the documentary. I get it. I get why they would do it. But you had an infection. Is that correct? Is that really what happened there?
With the big arm was a hematoma. But what happened was I had an infection in my other arm. If you watch the show again, there's a part where I go, because I would shoot my arm directly with the steroid. I put this testosterone or whatever I'm shooting into the muscle.
Is that normal?
Yeah. A lot of guys do it.
Okay.
Some guys still get in their ass, but then you get a big ass. So if it's injection sites, well, so why not your arm? So what happened was I shot the steroid directly and I got an infection. All right. And Julissa was alive when that happened. And she was like, oh, you got to go to the doctor. You got to go to the doctor. You got to go to the doctor. So I went to the emergency room. Normally I've had that's happened to every bodybuilder has that. We get this like little infection here or there from doing, you shoot a lot of steroids. That's what happened. And instead of draining it, just like, poking it and fucking, maybe pulling it out with a needle, draining it like that. He cut it with a scalpel, and he cut my fucking too deep in there where my bicep just went like this.
Okay.
So I have a little bit of a hole there. And in the show, you see me say, look, I got a hole. It's right here. It goes in, it goes up. It's right in my right arm. But then when you see me with the TLC thing and I'm flexing and I'm draining my arm, it's the left arm, right? And this is big balloon. My whole arm looks like this.
Yeah.
Big balloon. The whole arm was swollen. But
at one point you just go like this and like the syringe is just hanging out.
Yeah.
Your arm, right?
Yeah, I was taking the syringe I was drawing the shit out with. But the thing is that was a hematoma. So this arm, but what they did was they mixed stories. Nobody ever, when people saw that giant arm, they're like, look at that. See, that's an infection. That's what they're talking about. That arm exploded. He shows it later on where the hole in. No. Go look at the tattoos. It's 2 different arms. Listen, I took boatloads of steroids, boatloads, and I loved every fucking second of it. I am not going to lie. When they said he took too much steroids, they were 100% correct. I took boatloads, okay? I took way more than you're supposed to take, way more, okay? But my arm did not explode. You're not going to explode from that, you know? Maybe your liver might explode, you know, which is not a good thing, you know? It doesn't help the kidneys, doesn't help shit like the heart and stuff. That's trouble.
At your peak, do you think like you were taking more than, I mean, the serious question, do you think at your peak, do you think you were taking more than anyone in the world?
Maybe. I might have. I don't know what other guys, I mean, I know what, you know, the standard amount is, and I was way past that.
Yeah, because you were like way beyond that, right?
Right.
You
got to remember something. I was a drug dealer, okay? So I was like Scarface when he has piles of cocaine. This high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just stick his nose and they go, you know what I mean? You're not sitting there going, well, you know, if you're a regular, you know, I got to watch, you know, because this vial right here is going to cost me, you know, $200. So I got to be, I got 1,000 of those vials. I'll just open one up, rip it open, bang, 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 and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So I would take the whole thing. You're not supposed to take the whole thing, but I would take the whole thing. The whole thing could last some guys a month, but I would take it in a day. You know what I'm saying? So
wow.
I am not going to bullshit. I took boatloads, buckets, loved it. You know what I mean? I loved every minute of it. I got super jacked from it. But that had nothing to do with what happened to the arms. Okay, nothing. The one arm was an infection because it wasn't cleaning the environment. When you go to the doctor, they sit there and they clean. You know, after a while, sometimes bodybuilders would just shoot it. You know what I mean? Or you reuse needles. I was selling needles as well. I had cases of it. I was arrested with over 1,000 needles, 10 boxes. More than that, whatever. 10 boxes of 100 needles. That's 1,000 needles right there. 10 cases. And I was reusing shit like a fucking Momo. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, I don't want to open up a box. I could sell the box as a box. You know? Well, you know, so like a fucking idiot, I would reuse a needle so that you get an infection. But the left arm, that balloon, that was not an infection. That had nothing to do with steroids. That was a hematoma that my son, who was 9 years old at the time, back then is when when Mark McGuire and excuse me, and Sosa were hitting home runs.
98.
Right. And my son was hitting home runs. My son was a great baseball player, and he would jack home runs. He was at that time, he was a little stocky.
Yeah.
The kids used to call him Babe for Babe Ruth because he was stocky. McGuire. So they used to call him Babe McGuire. But he would take the bat and he wouldn't throw it. Like some kids, when you let go of the bat, you let go and it goes flying like this. He would take it and swing it around and it would come behind him. And I was standing behind there. I used to help coach the team. And I would stand, the little catcher, the little kid with all the catcher's mask and come up there like this. And they never can catch the ball. So, you know, the ball is like this. And I give the kid the ball and I throw it back to the pitcher. And I was standing back there. And my son let go of the bat and hit me just right here. But the whole arm blew up. And the bicep was like this giant bag of fucking blood.
Wow. I
drained to the blood. And when you see the thing, I even shake the bottle. Like I'm going like this with the bottle. And there's blood in it. And then there's like foam on the top because when you squirt, you know what I mean? Yeah. It creates foam, just like if you did it with water, you know. So that's it. It's like if you pissed in a fucking toilet, a lot of piss, you see a little foam, you know. That's all it was, just from shooting it into the fucking blood. But that's pure blood. There's no oil. There was no pus. It wasn't an infection. It was a hematoma. So that part was all bullshit. And it wasn't because I shot too many steroids. It was because I was hit with a bat.
Right. Okay.
But you know what? People always say to me, you should sue them. The people that know the real story, my friends, the people around me, they're like, you should sue them. And I'm like, bro, there's no such thing as bad publicity unless it's
I was gonna say it kind of worked out for you.
It did, because then Jay Leno sees that shit.
Yeah,
Ripley comes to me and says, "Oh, you got some big fucking." And you know what's funny? Now remember that the infection, all that shit that happened. Julissa was alive. That's when that was filmed. Okay. When they started, you know, when that shit became big, okay, when Firecracker Films came to me, because, you know, I was already a columnist for the magazine and talking about steroids and stuff, they wanted to do this little film on me. And originally it was going to be called like The Other Side of Bodybuilding or some shit like that. Other Side of Victory. Other Side of Victory. And when we were filming it, and I would be talking and all this shit, there was at the very beginning, we were in Strong and Shapely Gym, and my friend owns it, and he goes, Greg, show them that video view, because I was on the phone. If you notice on the video, there's really no sound to it, because I guess it was filmed on a VHS camera. It was VHS. I filmed it on a camera, and I'm sitting here and I'm on a phone. I'm on the phone with my friend Bob Bottom, owns Strong and Shapely Gym. And he's like, you're crazy. I'm like, Bob, I have to fucking do this. Now, let me explain to him. Let me get to why I started draining it. Because obviously it was a hematoma, it looked bad. But for a while, I was walking around with that fucking thing, right?
Wow.
So now, and it looked like a tick. So now, all of a sudden, when you and I were talking before about the big tits, and I was telling you about chicks with giant tits, right? You know, basketball tits in the beginning. For any people watching, go back. If you didn't see that, rewind. But anyway, so one day I'm in a deli, and I'm in New York City. And the deli had all these mirrors. They had poles that were all mirrored like this, right? And there's mirrors all over here. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. So I'm standing there, it's summertime, I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt. And I look this way, and I could see here, it's like a side of me. It's almost like if you're with a mirror that's like that, and you can see your back, you can see your front, you know. And I'm looking, and I'm like, oh my God, does that look terrible? And I look, and I'm looking at that arm, and it's this big fucking thing, like, you know, like Quado, like in fucking like that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where that thing is coming out, you know. I was like, oh my God, what
Quaid.
Quaid.
Yeah.
Remember? And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm looking at that thing, and I'm like moving and trying to, oh my God, that looks ridiculous. And that's when I went home the next day, and I called my friend Bob, and I go, bro, because Bob used to sit there and we'd be eating sometimes, because the blood was trapped there for a while. Yeah, it was just trapped. You know, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, I gotta drain this fucking thing, you know. And that's when I fucking drained it. You know, I drained it of blood. My friend used to sit there and be like, dude, I can't eat. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What's the matter? He goes, you look that fucking arm. It was all fucked up. Look at it. And I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about? You know, to me, it was just, you look like a jacked arm. I didn't know. I was like fucking stupid. I don't know. I didn't notice it. It's like if one of them chicks with the big tits walked in and realized how ridiculous that looks, you know? And that's when I was like, okay, this is, you know, we're putting an end to this shit. So, you know, I drained it of the blood. So he goes, when we're filming this thing for Firecracker Films, the TV's up there in front of the desk. He goes, Greg, you got to show them that fucking video. You draining that blood. And they're like, let's see it. We'll see it. When they saw it, they're like, we want the video. Please give us that video. Because think about that. Here's the man, like that's before like social media and all today and with the YouTube videos, and before like talk about clickbait. They use clickbait for television.
For sure, yeah.
Show that says, here's a show that's coming up, this new show about this guy. He saw arms. He took so much steroids. Yeah. His arms exploded. And you're going to see blood and everything. And people are like, oh, I got to see this. It's like a train wreck. And that's how that happened. But then you get Ripley's Believe It or Not coming to you. And then, you know, Jay Leno saw me off that. And so did Carson Daly. And then before you know it, all these, I know how many TV shows I've done. I've done like fucking 50 of them. I can't even remember them all. I don't even remember.
It's like a blessing.
Yeah. So
one door closed and all these other doors started opening up for you.
Right. And now I'm doing like movies and shit like that. And I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I got here. I'm like the Hawk 2 girl. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, she said Hawk 2 on that thing. And all of a sudden now she's sitting there going, all I did was say Hawk 2 on that thing. And all these fucking, because men are so disgustingly horny and they're like, oh my God, she spit on a dick. You know? So, you know, now she's like, you know, swimming in Scott. Now, if this was social media was around when all this shit hit with me, I'd be the Hawk 2 girl. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's how that happened.
Most likely, yeah. Now social media, I mean, the internet has all the power. Back then, I mean, everybody cared so much about what was going on late night, and now it's like if you, no offense if you watch late night shows, but now it's like if you, who the fuck watches late night show? I mean, I don't know anybody who watches that stuff. They're almost completely irrelevant.
Well, if you say to kids today, you know, Greg was on Jay Leno, they're like, who? Jay Leno. Who the fuck is Jay Leno? I'm like, forget it. I mean, meanwhile, that was the biggest show, the Tonight Show, for Johnny Carson, Jay Leno.
Even comedians, I mean, those late night shows do nothing for comedians nowadays. It doesn't. They don't even care to go on those. And that used to be where you had to go. Like they don't give a fuck about that anymore.
Nope.
It's all about podcasting, Instagram, YouTube. You know, which is cool. It's kind of giving the power back to people in a sense. But I suppose there is a charm to that, right? When late night TV is good, and you know, there's good aspects to that.
No, it's listen, you know, again, you know, you can spin it any way they want. You know, times have changed, man. Times have changed. The Hawk 2 girl's a perfect example of that shit. You know, there's a girl grew up maybe trailer park, whatever it is. You know, I'm gonna spin on that thing, and now all of a sudden, and I'm happy for her because
she's actually a cool girl. You know, she's actually not that bad.
No, she's actually good. I like her. She's not.
I like it too.
She just said this thing, and you know what? She found a lottery ticket. And
right, exactly.
And there's other people, jealous fucking haters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, there are people like, oh my God, she didn't earn anything, you know? But
I like that shit. To be honest with you, I get off on that. When I see somebody got famous for something stupid, I think it's funny.
You and me both. I'm
like, this is so funny. Like, what the fuck?
I watched a video where she was like, look, I don't even know how the fuck this happened. She said, I'm sitting here 1 minute, I'm sitting there, and you know, I'm just a normal person. Now all of a sudden I'm making all this money, and good for her. You know what? Ride the wave. Do what Danielle Bregoli did. You know, cash me outside. Ride the wave. Take the shot all. Fucking put it into investments. Go buy properties like Danielle Bregoli did. She put up all these properties because if you go out and you spend new money, you know, money on new cars and this shit, and you're living like that fucking, you know, life, that shit's gonna end. You're gonna be broke ass, and then you're gonna be on a VH1 special. What happened to the Hawk 2 girl? You know, and now you're back fucking, you know, like MC Hammer. You know?
A cautionary tale. Yeah. But I feel like I got to get you back on. I don't know, but
you want to do a part 2 because I don't shut the fuck up. You're probably like, holy shit, your wife's.
No, this is awesome. This is awesome. I'll put the. I feel like it would be cool if I had you on for a live stream or something. We're gonna get a bunch of fucking.
Whatever you want to do.
It's been about 2 hours and 45 minutes.
That's it.
Yeah. But listen, this has been great. Like I said in the beginning, I mean, it's really great to be able to speak to somebody like you. You've led an incredibly interesting life. I mean, I just did want to speak about some other things. I mean, you had a very successful column in Muscular Development, The Rambling Freak, which you had about for 15 years. When that was what I guess was it Muscular Development, that was like the top magazine for bodybuilding.
It's been around since the 1930s or whatever. They started that magazine, the oldest one, and it's, you know, I work for it. I'm proud, man. I used to win columns to the year.
Right.
You know, I would kill it with that show.
The Rambling Freak column, that was in Muscular Development. They no longer print magazines. They have an online presence. But for the past decade, you've been also doing a column with called Talking Smack, Muscle Sport magazine. An actual magazine, right? A physical magazine, Muscle Sport magazine. So you've been doing that for about a decade now. You've been doing that. You work with if you guys go to Generation Iron, you're telling stories over there on YouTube. There's plenty of stories of Greg on there. I mean, I'm going to link all of this to this video. Of course, if you want to see, I'll some of the stuff we spoke about with all the draining of the hematomas. I mean, that's available too. I'm also going to put some of that up for you guys to see. You've also appeared in the documentary Bigger, Stronger, Faster. You're in that. Vice, ESPN. I mean, you're certainly a go-to guy with these bodybuilding documentaries, things on television. That's going to be you, huh? That's you for the rest of your life, huh?
Right. I do. I still got a lot of shit. I just did 2 television shows for Vice TV. One, they have a series called 9 Lives of, and I did the 9 Lives of Hulk Hogan, and I did the 9 Lives of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I did a lot of other shit with Vice TV. Got a lot of other stuff coming out. But you and I could do a part 2 on this because I have funky stories of shit
I want to hear really crazy stuff. I mean, yeah,
and all that stuff. There's a lot of shit, gangster stuff and shit. I've been around and bad people and bad situations and stuff, and when I was, before Julissa died and I got locked up all in the same kind of fucking bubble there, my life was totally, I went from being a lunatic to being, like, holy shit,
Yeah, no, I think I would love to have you back on to talk again, and even maybe for like a live stream so my viewers could ask you questions. This was kind of like, for everyone listening, of course, some of you are here because you know who Gregg is. A lot of people that are my subscribers, they come to my channel for the crime stuff, which we certainly covered, but it's very important for them to know exactly who you are in bodybuilding, so they can get to know your life. And it's been an interesting one. It's been an incredibly interesting life that you've led. Impressive too, Gregg. I mean, really, you're a lot of resilience. I mean, I commend you. You're also a really humble dude, man. Like, you're just a nice guy, man. I mean, you could be an asshole. It would be easy for you to be an asshole, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And people would probably expect it. I even see people online, the most hated bodybuilder or something. I see all that stuff online. To other people's credit, though, to other people's credit on Reddit, people do stick up for you. I noticed. So, like, why do people hate him? I don't even understand. And I started looking into it a little bit. It seems like it's not that much hate when you really look at it, though.
Well, the reason why that article came out, and that same guy came and kissed my fucking ass, Chris Sugar. The reason why is because of all that arm exploding show and all that stuff.
Right.
And I'm bad for bodybuilding. That's why. Oh, look at this guy with all the steroids and that arm is all fun. And they think all you're making all bodybuilders look bad. That's why. But it's not true because I was, my column and everything else and all the appearances I've done and all the TV shit, I'm very well liked in my sport. But, I'm good with that. It is what it is. I don't let anything bother me, and I'm good to everybody. I would say I'm like George Steinbrenner. He used to say, I'm a bleacher seat fan with the key to the clubhouse. In other words, like, I work in the industry, but I'm one of you guys. I sit there and, like George Steinbrenner would sit there and say, Reggie, you suck when he struck out. And then when he hit, he'd be like, look at that, Reggie, what a great guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like that. That's the way I am. You know what I mean? I'm like one of you guys out there watching this shit. And if you want to hear some good gangster shit, I got a lot of that shit too.
Well, that's what I mean. I've spoken a lot about that. I have somebody on my channel. I have the only non-informant rat mob associate on YouTube is on my channel, actually, because they're all informants. This is a guy, I'm sure you've heard of Roy DeMeo. I mean,
yeah, sure, I've heard of Roy.
This is the Roy DeMeo guy. He's in the book Murder Machine. He's one of the top car thieves in New York City history. They accused him of a lot of other things. Never charged in court. Peter LaFroscia, his name. If you ever read Murder Machine, he's in that book. So yeah, I definitely cover a lot of that stuff. I try to meet people and talk to people within that world if I can. It's not easy, of course. And I cover a lot of organized crime stuff, but this was different. I've never even thought about this from a criminal aspect until that sicko Tartaglione.
Right, I was no gangster. That guy was crazy. That Tartaglione guy.
No, he's a fucking serial killer. I mean,
that's a totally different. But
that's cutting bodies. Yeah.
Sometimes there's guys like myself and probably him. I don't know him or never met him that I know of. I may have met him. I don't know. I met a lot of people. I don't remember who the fuck I meet. But what I'm saying is, I was around like some bad gangsters, but I never got involved with them.
Yeah.
Like I was one of them because I knew that there's no way of getting out of that shit. Either you go to jail and if you're not a rat, I mean, I look at the biggest rat there ever was, and he's fucking still doing videos now.
Right. Well, that's the downside. Yeah, I mean, it's either you become a rat or you go to prison. I mean, like the guy I was just talking about, he's 75. He's done 23 years of his life in prison. So, I mean, who the fuck wants that?
Isn't DeMeo, is he dead, right? That guy?
DeMeo's dead. He died in 83. They killed him. But I don't know if you heard, you probably heard this, the Gemini twins who were with him, famous mafia hitmen. They just got out of prison this year. They actually let him out. They were supposed to be in there for life.
How old are they?
They are now 68, 69. They were in prison in 89 till 2024. They just did over 30 years in prison.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah. Wild stuff, man.
Well, they didn't rat. There's no way you're going to do 30 years in prison and rat. That's just
no. They weren't supposed to get out, but there's all these stipulations and law changes, and after 35 years, they're out. Numerous murders.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I was around guys like that. You know, I can't use his name on here.
No, I understand. Yeah, of course.
You know who one of them was, and it was very bad. He was legendary. He's in a movie. You know what I'm saying about? But when you're around those kind of people, man, it's just, you know, I knew enough to not get involved. You know what I mean? Like that. I didn't, you know, you're around them, you meet people, but that doesn't mean you're involved with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way that.
Yeah.
I knew
they have a funny way of rationalizing things too, those guys. You know, they'll say,
they have a funny way of rationalizing things. And they take everything to heart and everything. And they're just, you don't want to be around that. You know what I'm saying? If you put yourself in, you know, it's like these people that raise lions and shit like that. And then you find out they get eaten by the lion they raise. You put yourself in that position, you know what I mean? You can't, you know, you never know, you know, I didn't, anytime I was around them, I made sure I never got involved, you know, just, you know, it was like that, you know, I wasn't around them a lot either, but, you know, anytime the one guy I was around was a son of them, you know what I mean? But just, you know, I just don't want to be around that shit. And thank God I wasn't. You know, I had my own lunatic fucking ways of thinking that was not rational, you know, and you know, my daughter is the one who saved me. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for me with her, I would have done some bad things.
It's good. Yeah, it's good you never got involved, because you would have been either really good for that life or you would have just got killed quickly.
I might have gotten killed because I was in bad shape. You know what the thing is too, though? I just got to say this to one thing, you guys watching this, I could tell you this about, again, I am not a gangster. I was never a gangster. I was around them, but I did bad things, okay? And I can tell you this, that when you're doing things like that are crazy, okay, most guys don't realize how fucked up you're so far, your thinking is so far gone. Yeah. That you don't even realize your whole brain level, you know, you see it and I can see it now. But when I was in it, when I told that story and I was going to kill those guys, in my brain, I was like justified. Like if they went to arrest me, I'd be like, how can you arrest me? They tried to break in my house, but that don't give you the right to go kill them. Do you understand what I'm saying? They didn't try to kill you. They didn't, you know, you weren't saving somebody's life. You weren't, you know, protecting your own life. You understand? Like, but in my mind, but they were going to my house. You don't understand. Like, I'd be arguing stupid shit like that. You know, just before I got arrested, I said to the judge, and when he first read my bail was $250,000. When he first read my bail, I said, what? And I said, for steroids like that, you know, because everybody else I know, they were all rats and they never spent a day getting locked up. They were all arrested on their own recognizance and released if they promised to rat on somebody. And I'm sitting there going, and you know, $250 for steroids, and the judge goes, if I were you and say another word, shh, you better watch what you're saying. I'm warning you. And I was like, holy fuck! Like I thought they were going to bring me before the judge. They were going to say, okay, here's your ticket. You know, come back. You know what I mean? You know, but regardless, most guys don't realize what they're doing. I was involved with the guy who was a cop. He was. You read my book. You know, when I was almost shot down by Yankee Stadium. The cop who talked to the other guy. Yeah. You know, you want to, if you want to talk, that cop, okay, it was bad. But, you know, him and I robbed 2 houses together. I don't know if you know that. We robbed, you know, bad. We did bad things. And now I look at it now, we actually walked down the street with the shit like this in our hands. And I'm thinking, oh, what the fuck, you stupid. You know, but I'm thinking he's the cop, so it doesn't matter. Like, what are they going to do? I just say, hey, you know,
Well, I believe it. Listen, the reason, like I said, once again, the reason why I had you on is because that Nick Tartaglione story, who was a cop who was selling steroids.
Right.
He was a cop who was selling steroids. It was either while he was on the force or he got injured. He was trying to get back, but he was selling steroids, and he was a user, and he had this whole world of users around him in kind of the area that you were in. But I know you said you didn't know him. He was in the lower Hudson Valley.
I don't remember. I don't know. No, I meet so many because I'm in the media end of bodybuilding. People come up to me, and
right.
Not that I know of. I've never met the guy, and I never heard of him until that day. But I can tell you this: most guys that take steroids, not the kid that takes it recreationally, but even some of them, most guys, pro bodybuilders, take steroids, sell drugs. There's no way, because this is what I'm trying to get at. When you take steroids, right, and you go and your friend says to you, hey, where are you getting that testosterone? I'm getting it from Joe Materazzi. Okay, can you get me a bottle? First thing the guy says in his brain is, yeah, okay, I'm paying $80. I'll charge him I'll charge him like 150. So he pays for mine too. So I get mine for free because he's buying. Do you understand? So it's almost like you can't help but drug deal. It's when you're taking steroids, those guys that are taking steroids and they get for their friends and they tack on a little bit of money to either or have their, tack on enough money that their friend is paying for their cycle. So I'm getting mine for free because my friend's giving me the money. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep. No, I get it. Yeah.
There's not a pro bodybuilder alive who hasn't done that. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's not. And if you believe that Arnold Schwarzenegger just made money doing, I'm just going to leave it at this. I'm not going to say what I think or what I kind of know is that how did he make a living? He laid on the beach all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he made $1,000 winning the Mr. Olympia. And that's the only contest he competed in. So what did he do for money? It's not when he was, he just, just did things,
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. I thought you were alluding to something before. Yeah. Yeah.
No, he wasn't drug dealing. So if anybody's out there thinking that he wasn't drug dealing.
Yeah.
So, but there's other ways,
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. It's an interesting world. I mean, it's a very wild world from what I could see. A lot of different interesting characters. Legendary characters. Some of who, like yourself, who have crossed over into mainstream. We know who they are.
I don't know how the fuck it happened. I'm like the Hawk 2 girl. You get a phone call, somebody asks you to do this little thing, and then before you know it, you're on this show, you're on that show. The only difference is when I was doing it, she's making a lot more money than I made. You know what I mean? Because now today it's a different animal, and because of social media and all that stuff, and how they whore them people out like that. It's a different animal.
Yeah.
But when you're caught up in shit, you don't realize. Sometimes you don't realize. You don't realize how fucked up things are. You know what I'm saying? It's like a woman in a bad relationship. The boyfriend keeps beating the shit out of her, and well, I do it because I love you. You're making me do that. You're driving me to do that shit.
Yeah.
And then after she gets divorced from him, finally shit hits the fan, she realized, you son of a bitch, why did I stay in that relationship? I believed all his, that's the same shit with a lot of gangsters. They get caught in it. One day when they're out of it, they realize, holy fuck, what the fuck was I thinking? And that's me.
Well, Gregg Valentino, I just want to say thank you again for coming on. I would love to get you back. I think people are really going to enjoy this. We had a lot of interesting things that we covered, and I would, maybe we'll have you back on if you don't mind. It'll, everybody will know who you are by then. Everyone that doesn't, and we could just get into the real nitty gritty, some more of these street stories, some more of this, the troubles that you got, and when you were stacking that cheddar, selling those steroids, doing good for yourself.
Oh yeah. I could go back to it if I wanted to make money, but then I'd go to jail and I'd be fucked. You know what I mean? I love it.
Exactly.
When a gay guy, they let me out of jail. The one CO tells me, "You'll be back." Pieces of shit like you guys, you can only do one thing. You know what I'm saying? Oh
yeah.
I proved him wrong.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave all the links in the description. We'll leave a link to YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel, you do these live streams sometimes. You go on there late, you chatting up with people. We're gonna leave Gregg Valentino's YouTube. We'll leave the Generation Iron, and we'll put up some links. You're over there. And if there's anything else you'd like to plug before you get out of here.
I do a show on YouTube with Joe Zapata. You know, Zapata, we do it every Thursday. We do a live shit. And, you know, you know, off the air, I'll tell you, I think he was asking me about you because he does a lot of like gangsters and shit like that. So you and him might have.
What's his name?
Zapata, Joe Zapata.
Okay.
Okay. It's, you know, he has done a lot of, I have a lot of connections with that shit too. Like, you know, there's guys that can, you know, you guys can go back and forth with different stuff, you know.
Joe Zapata?
Yeah, Joe Zapata.
Well, text it to me. Yeah, text me the videos that you did with him. I'll check it out.
Yeah. The videos I do with him is just more bodybuilding shit, a lot of the crazy shit, funky stuff.
Yeah.
You know? But he does videos like he's got some mafia guys doing right now, you know, like within the next day or two. You know, there's a few guys I know that do big ones doing Gene Boreal, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
All these other guys, you know, I can hook you up with them. They like to meet guys that they can, you know, coexist. You know, like do. You know, we help each other out, and we're all here in this area too, Brett. So you know,
awesome. Yeah, no, I'm always down to talk to someone. You know, have a chat, and yeah, for sure, 100%. That'll be awesome.
All right.
All right, Greg, hang out for 1 second. Yes. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Check the links in the description, and hopefully we get Mr. Valentino back again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.